Welcome into the High Noon Stream. Hi, I'm Pugs Moran. We do this each and every day at noon till about when? 2-ish, 2:30, who knows? It depends on how much is happening. And boy, oh boy, is there a lot happening today. So come on, join in the chat room. We like to get y'all involved here. Mix it up, but stay nice. Stay nice in the chat room. We don't need no trouble. This is the first of two streams that I do every day. The High Noon Show comes to you Monday through Friday, and it's all about topics, trends, headlines, current events, pop culture, anything that is being talked about or discussed on this day. We also go through the history of this day a little bit. We tell you all the things that have, made this day so damn special or so damn sad, as the case may be. As I say, this is the first of two. The second one, Pillow Talk. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. That comes on each and every night at 9 o'clock. 9 p.m. Central Time. All time Central around here because Central is the most ecumenical of the time zones, at least as far as I'm concerned. We're not going to be all East Coast. We're not going to be all West Coast. We're not even going to deal with mountain time. What the hell is that? Because you're higher up in the mountains, the time is different? That's silly. So we are Central Time Zone here. All right, let's get started. We got a lot of stuff to get to. A lot of stuff. Some days, and I don't tell you this because why would I come on the air and tell you today sucks? But some days I'm not really into what the topics are that we're going to discuss. But today I am. Boy, oh boy. Today, first of all, we've got the rare birth, death, double person born and died on the same day. That's interesting. We'll find out who that is. We're also going to talk about everything, all the big stories that are trending with student loans, Amir Locke, Clean Water Act, what the Deutsche Bank is doing, but also fun stuff like how we're going to get back at Putin by taking all his daughter's monies away. Ooh, that's going to be fun. We're going to talk about the Hillsong Church. I'm going to get into some church talk. Hillsong Church, that's trending. Let's see what else. Mike Tyson is trending. We'll find out why that is. The Weeknd is trending. We'll find out why that is. The most important company in America right now. If any one single company were to go away and affect the average American in a way that would make them go, this sucks, it's this company. And we'll talk about that company because they're trending his way. Also, a very exciting television sequel series has been announced. Oh, I'm very excited about this one. One of my favorite shows. They've just today announced a sequel coming for that show. Plus, we'll get into some Magic Johnson, Howard Stern drama. We'll talk a little bit about baby names. Yeah, it's baby names. And celebrity death. There's a whole bunch of other things, too, that I didn't mention. I skipped over a whole bunch. But all of those things coming up here in the next 2 hours plus, whatever you want to call it. All right, I see that we've got Dustin here. Hi, Dustin. We've got Leslie. We've got Jen. We've got Will. We've got Byron. Oh, the chat room is just filling up. Dustin says, are y'all listening from home? Oh, that's a good question. Look at Dustin doing a little bit of market research for me, wanting to know where people are listening, whether they're listening at home. Hi, Al. Al is here. I'm a whore. I'm a high whore. I will say hello to everybody who pops into the chat room. At least in this stage of the daily stream that we've been doing now for about, we've done almost 400 shows, almost 300 and something shows. It's crazy. I love doing it. We've been doing this since, I think late August, early September. I don't know what the kickoff date was on this, but every single day, this gives me a reason to wake up and do something and feel excited, and it gets my blood going. And then the rest of the day, I'm like, well, I guess I got to start preparing for the Pillow Talk show. No, that's not really it. But yeah, almost 400 shows. That's what we've been doing. All right, let's get into what today is. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Here's how I know it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday because the pool guy comes on Wednesday. Many of you know I do this show from the beautiful guest house Comfort Nest Lounge high atop the One Percenter compound in beautiful sunny Highland Park, Texas. I exist at the pleasure of my landlord who owns this property and allows me to do all of this nonsense here from the guest house quarters, the Comfort Nest. We've dubbed it. On Wednesdays, the pool guy comes for the property. So we've got a terrible dog. I've told you about this terrible dog. We have a mean dog. I've never owned a mean dog before, But suddenly I own a mean dog. And here's what makes it even worse. The mean dog loves me. The mean dog loves me. The mean dog loves my son. The mean dog loves his master, the homeowner, and the mean dog loves the homeowner's wife and child. But that's about it. That's about all the mean dog loves. So when the pool guy comes on Wednesday, we have to police the yard. The dog can't be in the yard when the pool guy comes because you see the pool guy, they're wonderful. It's this family of people who clean the pools around this neighborhood, and they're all deaf. They're all deaf, like they don't hear. So oh my God, when the dog is barking and going nuts, they don't hear it. They have to see it. So we've got to police the yard when the pool guy's coming and the dog's got to be locked up. Pool guy usually comes around 8:30 in the morning. So it's my job to make sure that the dog gets out and does her business and gets her breakfast before 8:30. So I did all that like usual on Wednesdays. And then the pool guys didn't come and they still haven't come. So typically the pool guys are done by like, I don't know, 20 minutes it takes them. So if they get here like 8:30, they're out of here by 9, and then the dog can go back to patrolling the yard. Today, she got her morning piddle in. She got her morning grub in. She's been locked in the guest house quarters now the entire day, and she's kind of being a dick. She's kind of being a jerk. She's starting to be like, "Hey, the sun is shining. I want to go lay under my tree and hunt squirrels." But she can't. So long story short, I may have to take a break at some point during the show to make sure that the pool guys know that the yard is secure. Oh, because here's the process. Because they're deaf, the pool guys will not just walk into the yard because they won't be able to hear the dog barking. So what they do is they take a tool and they rap on the gate really hard, gang, 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 and then that's my cue to come to the window here of the guest house, open the curtain, and either give them the thumbs up or like a panic, no, don't go in. And if it's no, then I got to run down and get the dog. But the dog is in here, so I do expect to be interrupted at some point, and I'll have to get up and I'll have to go to the window and I'll have to be like, come on, you're all good guys. Come on, thanks. So just a little pre-notice that we may have a slight interruption in today's show. Hi, April. April's here. Jen says, I take a walk on my lunch break every day and listen to the show. Oh, that's so heartwarming. I appreciate that so much. By the way, today is like walking day. It's like take a walk day or something. I don't know. We'll get to that. As I said, it's high noon on the 6th day of April, year 2022. April 6th is the 96th day of the year. So if you've been on a diet since New Year's, you're almost bearing down on 100 days. Good for you. Although, let's be honest, none of you made it 96 days. I tried. I didn't make it 96 days. I had stop and starts. I'm in the middle of a diet now. I recommitted myself to the diet on Lent, on the Ash Wednesday. I went, okay, here's what I'm doing I'm not Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I'm not Catholic. I'm not practicing. I'm lapsed. I'm culturally Catholic. I like the big hats and the scary churches and stuff like that, but nothing else. So I've committed myself back to the Lenten diet where I just kind of gave up enjoying life. That's what I did. No more food, no more nothing. Although I do have my great splurge. My great splurge are frozen grapes. If you're not eating red grapes completely frozen from the freezer, you're not eating grapes properly. They are so delicious. Better than ice cream. But the problem is I can eat like 5 pounds of frozen grapes in a night, and that's like 2,000 calories. So what am I doing? And I tell myself, oh, but it's good calories because this is fruit. No. And it's not like 2,000 calories, but I'll go all day and I'll be like at 800 calories for the day, which is really good because I'm eating nothing but lettuce and salads and maybe a chicken breast. I'm eating regular. I'm just eating really good and I'm getting my runs in and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm splurging at night with the grapes. I gotta go shopping tomorrow because I got the kid this weekend. So which means I gotta buy some garbage food because the kid's not on a diet. So he gets bread and stuff. He gets waffles for breakfast, that kind of thing. But I gotta avoid the grape aisle. I gotta avoid the damn grape aisle because that is my Achilles heel on this diet, frozen grapes. But really, it could be worse. It could be like pie, right? Pie could be my Achilles heel, but it's not. It's just grapes. All right, what is today? Today, we like to go through the National Day calendar and figure out exactly what we're supposed to be honoring today and how we're supposed to be living. And these are always the dumbest things ever. Oh, I say that, and this doesn't seem like a dumb one at all. It's National Child Help Day. Child Help National Day of Hope. Oh God. Okay. Help kids. That's a good thing, right? Just help kids. I don't want to delve into it because there's a lot of stupid stuff today. It's National Bookmobile Day. I used to hate the bookmobile. I didn't hate reading. I just hated the bookmobile because I was traumatized at like 4 years old with a bus that came through the neighborhood, and it was a birthday party bus. You know, they say, "Hey, have your kid's birthday party on the bus," and there was a clown on the bus, and it was a fucked up clown. It was a scary clown, man. I was like 4 years old, and I remember, I still have vivid memories of just screaming and crying and being just horrified by the presence of this clown on this bus. And so then, I don't know, it's just something that sort of attached itself to me whenever like a neighborhood bus came by and all the kids got on. If it wasn't painted yellow and taking me to school or a field trip, I was not interested in getting on it. So there you go. National Bookmobile Day. That's my childhood trauma. A clown on a birthday party bus once scared me, so I don't read. National Walking Day. We said this. It's National Walking Day. So get out there and walk around. And then after you're done walking, it's National Caramel Popcorn Day. I love caramel popcorn. Oh my God. I like Cracker Jack, but I like real fresh caramel popcorn. You know, born and raised in Chicago, I don't know if many of you know this. We have a lot of foods that we're associated with. Of course, you got the hot dogs and the pizza and the Italian beef and, certain regional Italian dishes that you can only get there. But popcorn is like a huge thing in Chicago, but mostly like candied popcorn. We have all of these like downtown, we have all of these fresh popcorn, candied popcorn shops. Garrett's, I think, is the big one. And a lot of times, people will send these big tubs. You've seen them, the big tubs of popcorn that you get around the holidays and stuff. They always have like multiple flavors. Like they've got caramel in one section, regular in another, then like cheddar in another. And then there's like, I don't know, maybe there's something else there. You want to know what's absolutely disgusting and will make me vomit? Anyone who mixes the caramel with the cheddar. Oh, I can't even think about that. And people are like, you got to take a handful of the caramel and a handful of the cheddar and a handful of the regular, and you got to stick them in your mouth. Oh, God. I love the caramel too much, and I love the cheddar too much. But together, it's like, cheese shouldn't be sweet. There you go. There you go. That's the bottom line. Cheese shouldn't be sweet. So there you go. Enjoy National Caramel Popcorn Day. It's National Sorry Charlie Day. No idea what that means, but try and say sorry Charlie today. Say it. You know what? I'll do it. I'll pledge to do it right now. I'm going to do it on the Pillow Talk show. At some point, I'm going to say to James, sorry Charlie. And then you people listening now will know what that's about. A little fun Easter egg for you. It's National Student Athlete Day. Okay. It's National Tartan Day. Okay. It's New Beer's Eve. What is New Beer's Eve? I don't care. I don't really care what new beer. It's new. Have a new beer tonight. Say you're celebrating New Beer's Eve. I don't like new beer. I'm full up on beer. I know what kind of beer I like. You know what kind of beer I like? I got two kinds of beer that I like. One, my everyday heavy lifting beer. Miller Lite, Bud Light, Coors Light. Maybe even like a regional American Pilsner light beer. That's fine. Sometimes, like now when I'm on a diet, Michelob Ultra. That's it. You're just drinking water. Yeah, water that gets me drunk. That's okay. So that's like the whole point of it. Beer doesn't taste good. Oh, this beer is delicious. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's maybe it's not terrible, but it's fermented fruit. It's spoiled fruit. That's what you're drinking. You're telling me it tastes. Come on, stop it. And then when I get fancy, I do like a Pauliner or a Hackershore, like a Weiss beer. Like I like them in the nice tall glasses with like a slice of what do you put lemon in there? You eat lemon. Sometimes people put limes in there. So I've seen people put orange in there. There's a bar that I used to work at in Chicago that we gave people orange slices if they wanted. People seem to like it, but that's it. That's it. I'm not one of these hipsters that, oh no, this is a rotten apple cider India pale ale. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just like bad spoiled beer. That's what IPAs are. People are like, they've rediscovered the IPA, and what they don't understand was IPA, when it was introduced, it was terrible beer that the British soldiers who were in India at the time, Pakistan, India, when the empire stretched that far, it was the only beer that they could drink because the beer was sent from England on its way to India, thus the India Pale Ale, and it's spoiled. It's spoiled on the way, but the soldiers drank it anyway. And that's what pale ale, it's what India Pale Ale is. Spoiled, gross beer. Stop trying to impress people with your cultured knowledge of intoxicants from around the globe. India Pale Ale is gross. No, it's delicious. No, it's not. I know it's not. I know all alcohol is not delicious. Get a 5-year-old. Get a 5-year-old and have him take a drink of alcohol and look at his face. There you go. That'll tell you what it really tastes like. Tastes like garbage. Okay, don't give a 5-year-old drinks. They can taste a beer. That's fine. They can take a sip of a beer. That's fine. Maybe it's nighttime. Maybe they need to go to bed. Maybe you give them a little bit more of a chug. What are you doing? Why are you? That's my co-host. Schizophrenic me. Schizophrenic. I don't have a co-host, so schizophrenic me is the guy who chimes in from time to time. I know. I shouldn't be telling kids to drink beer, but I'm just saying, if you really want to know how terrible alcohol tastes, I'm not saying alcohol is terrible. I'm saying alcohol tastes terrible. There is a purpose to alcohol, and I'm all for it. I'm just saying, let's stop pretending. If alcohol didn't taste terrible, then there wouldn't be all of these fruity mixed drinks. You can get people going, oh, bourbon sucks. Bourbon's terrible. The worst is gin, but, wine too. Wine. Oh, this wine is delicious. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're lying to yourself. It's not delicious. You just want to get drunk and you can actually stomach this stuff. That's what it is. It is the most palatable of really awful spoiled fruits that your body will tolerate. That's what alcohol is. It's National Teflon Day. Who cares, right? All right, let's get into what happened on this day. Let's go through a quick rundown of the historical events that make this day so great or so terrible. On this day in 1970, World War I, the United States of America. Hey, that's us. We declared war on Germany in World War I. There you go. Wouldn't be the last time, but the first time we declared war on Germany was on this day in 1917. Also on this day, 30 years later, on this day in 1947, the very first Tony Awards are presented for theatrical achievement. The Tony Awards. Oh, don't get me started on my hot takes regarding the Tony Awards. This is the most insignificant, irrelevant, unnecessary, elitist, pat on the back award show there is. The most important, let's be honest. Here's the pecking order of award shows and their real cultural importance to the regular American Joe and Jane. You got the Emmys. The Emmys. Everybody watches TV. Okay, you can relate to that. You watch the Emmys, you're like, oh, I love that show. That's a show that I like. Emmys. Then you get the Grammys. Yeah, but even the Grammys, now we're starting to whittle it down a little bit. We're starting because not everybody is into contemporary music, but a very desirable demographic is into popular current music. So the Grammys, I get that. The Oscars, certainly there was a time when the Oscars would have been number one. You mean the time before TV? Yeah, the time before TV when people just went to the movie theaters. People don't really go to the movie theaters all that much anymore. We watch our movies at home on television and stuff like that. But we're still seeing movies. And, Netflix, it exists. We that's how we view pay-per-view, whatever. That's how we see movies now in the comfort of our own homes. So the Oscars, okay, so they're kind of real. Nobody goes to Broadway. Okay, the Tony Awards, you're going to put the Tony Awards on TV. Oh, I'm sure somebody in the middle of Nebraska is just going to be completely hypnotized by the glory. Nobody goes to Broadway. Have you ever traveled to New York? Let's see a Broadway show. You're from Iowa. You go to New York and I want to see a Broadway show. That'll be $15,000. Even tourists to New York don't get to go to Broadway. Broadway is for, I don't know, maybe a couple, 20, 30,000 people that attend Broadway shows every year, but they pretend it's so elitist. And the people who do get to go to these things are so pompous. They're so narcissistic that it's like, this is our thing, and we're going to make people in South Dakota watch it on a Sunday night on CBS. I hate the Tony Awards. There's absolutely no reason. If I ran a network and they were like, "Hey, we got the Tonys this year," I go, "Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Let's throw a block of Everybody Loves Raymond reruns because nobody gives a shit about Broadway plays. We don't know any of the people. I'm sorry. Occasionally, there'll be like some actor who was once in a movie. It's like, oh, I know that dude, but that's basically it. There is YouTube. We should do a YouTube awards. That should replace the Tony Awards. There should be like a big national YouTube award. YouTubers are far more famous than anybody that's on Broadway. Oh, Pugs, you're such a troglodyte. Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I don't go to Broadway. You know, I've even been to Broadway. I went to a Broadway show once. I like plays. I enjoy them. I went to a Broadway show once. I saw East End London Theater, once. And I've seen like regional touring plays and stuff. I like plays, hate musicals, like plays. But I understand that I'm never going to Broadway again. Okay, I was there. It was a life experience. I saw it. I had shitty seats. It was not, it's not great. What did I see? That's the thing. I went to a Broadway show. I don't even know what play it was. It wasn't even one of the good ones. It's like I can't even say that I saw Phantom on Broadway. I can't even say that. I saw Cats on Broadway. I can't even say that. Some stupid, you know what? Now that I think about it, it was probably off Broadway, which isn't even, I don't even know. See, I don't know what this stuff means. I just know that Broadway, so unnecessary, so irrelevant. It caters to wealthy people on the Upper East and West Side of New York. That's it. It's the only people. Maybe once in a while, a wealthy family from Long Island will get into the city and they'll see a show. On this day in 1973, one of the great inventions of our time occurred. Oh, I'm going to piss off some of you. That's right. On this day in 1973, the American League of Major League Baseball begins the use of designated hitter. Designated hitter. Oh, but I'm a purist. I like pure baseball the way it was intended to be. Oh, you mean with no black people? Is that how you mean, Mr. Purist? Mr. Traditional? Shit changes. It's called progress. The world looks at the way things are done in 1895 and then goes, hey, you know what? It's 2022. We don't have to do things like that anymore. And it changes. And you people who are just, oh, I resist change. Yeah, that's because your brain is small. It's because your brain is small and it's filled with things that you're comfortable with. And now that there's something new, you're like, I don't know how to process this. Shut up. The designated hitter makes baseball more interesting. Nobody wants to see a pitcher hit. Bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, game on the line. Here comes the pitcher to look at three strikes in a row. Game over. Oh, but it changes the strategy of the game. No, it doesn't. It introduces new strategies because now you have to account for the fact that some dude who can swing a big stick is coming up instead of some guy who's just going to let it sit on his shoulder and take 3 strikes and hit the bench. Stop it. Oh, the strategy. The absence of a traditional strategy does not mean there's no more strategy. It just means the introduction of a new strategy. Progress. Jesus, people. And thankfully, I can watch National League Baseball again because the National League finally in this year has introduced the designated hitter. American League did it in 1973. Yeah, the superior league that looks at the league of the Yankees, okay? The league of the Red Sox, the league of the, what does the National League got? The Cardinals and the Cubs? Are you kidding me? And I like the Cardinals. Don't get me wrong. They're my favorite National League team. The league of the Rangers, the league of the White Sox, the league of the A's, the league of these historic teams. The A's are historic. Yeah, Philadelphia Philadelphia A's, Philadelphia Athletics. Look it up. Goes all the way back to the 1890s. I love the designated hitter. Birthdays. Woo! We got some good birthdays here today. We're going to celebrate some birthdays. Some big celebrities having birthdays on this day, the 6th day of April. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1937, a true American icon, one of my favorite. For years I said I hate country music, except for Johnny Cash, original Hank Williams. He had some cool stuff. And this dude, Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard. Happy birthday, Merle. White Line Fever. Oh, I love Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard, born on this day in 1937. Put a pin in that because we'll be back. Let's see. Also born on this day, 1937, Billy D. Williams, American actor, singer, malt liquor pitchman, and writer. And let's not kid ourselves. Billy D. Williams had like a whole career in urban cinema back in the 60s and 70s when they had different white people won't go see a black person in a movie. Yeah, tell that to Denzel. I mean, that's actually not true. But there was this whole genre. And sometimes it was referred to as blaxploitation, or I think it's more historically known now as urban cinema or black cinema. And it had this whole slew of stars, like big stars who were not necessarily well-known stars in the white community, but they were big stars in the black community, the urban community. And Billy D. Williams was one of them. Bill D. Williams was a massive star. And then he finally sort of crossed over with Star Wars. That's right. He was the first black character introduced into Star Wars. Because apparently in the future, we've dealt with that whole black problem. So at least that's what it looked like from the first Star Wars. Hey, where's all the black people? We got no black people in the future? This doesn't seem right. So Billy D. Williams, of course, Lando Calrissian. He brought in some soul, some coolness, some chill. He was so great. He was like, from the minute he popped up on screen, he was one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I love that guy. Billy D. Williams, happy birthday to you. He was born in 37. Born on this day in 1942. One of the most prolific film producers of our time. Barry Levinson. Barry Levinson, born on this day in 1942. American actor. He was an actor? Oh, it says so. Actor, director, producer, screenwriter. He did it all, Barry Levinson. Barry Levinson movie draft. Oh, okay, you got me. I love me some Barry Levinson. So let's do a Barry Levinson film draft on his birthday. Barry Levinson, in the first round of the Barry Levinson film draft, Pugs and Company's High Noon Show selects. Yeah, this was one that was probably predicted to be in the second or third round, but I'm going number one pick overall. Diner. That's right. The early 80s Barry Levinson film, Diner. Diner is so good. If you guys have never seen Diner is one of the funniest, most warm-hearted, so Diner takes place in the 1950s, and it's about 4 or 5 friends who are, they're going from, college age into their early 20s, and they're starting to make big life decisions, and they have a meeting place. They meet at this diner, and they all, oh God, everybody's in it. Who's in it? Tim Daly's in it. Paul Reiser's in it. Mickey Rourke. I think it was Mickey Rourke's first movie, maybe. A whole bunch of people. Ellen Barkin is in it. Oh my God, it's so good. Diner, is it Paul Reiser's character or Daniel Stern's character? I'm not sure. Daniel Stern's in it too. One of these characters is getting married to Ellen Barkin, but he will only marry her if he's convinced that they're compatible, because they've been dating all through high school and, he loves her and all that, but man, this is the rest of your life. So he devises a quiz for his fiance, and if she passes the quiz, they'll get married. And if she doesn't pass the quiz, then the wedding is off. And so the whole movie takes place. She's studying maniacally for this quiz, and the quiz was on the Baltimore Colts. It was his favorite football team. It takes place in Baltimore. He loves the Baltimore Colts, and if she can't pass this Baltimore Colts history quiz, he's not going to marry her. Oh, Diner is so good. Number 2 pick. Best baseball movie ever made. The Natural, number 2 in the Barry Levinson film draft. Diner in the first round. The Natural in the second round. In the third round, Good Morning Vietnam comes in at number 3 in the Barry Levinson draft. Number 4, Wapner. Rain Man. I can't do it, Dustin Hoffman. Rain Man in the 4th round of the Barry Levinson draft. In the 5th round of the Barry Levinson draft, I'm going to go with Wag the Dog. God, I love Wag the Dog. All right, Diner, The Natural, Good Morning Vietnam, Rain Man, and Wag the Dog in my Barry Levinson film draft on his birthday. A couple of free agent pickups too, as long as we're just doing it. Avalon. Avalon is such a good movie too. I love Avalon. If you've never seen Avalon, you can see Avalon too. As a matter of fact, you want to have a nice Saturday evening at home, watch Diner into Avalon, because they're both set in the same time frame. They're both set in Baltimore, and they're both sort of remembrances of Barry Levinson's childhood, him growing up. Barry Levinson. There you go. Avalon, I picked that up in free agency. Tin Men. Oh, come on. Tin Men. That's Danny DeVito, Tin Men. They're about Richard Dreyfuss, Danny DeVito. There are a couple of dueling aluminum siding salesmen who are in competition with each other. Oh, that is so funny. Bugsy, good movie. Bugsy, Warren Beatty, Annette Bening. Is that where they met? Yeah, and they're still married. Look at that. And Sleepers. Sleepers is another free agent pickup in the Barry Levinson draft. The dude has made so many movies. All right, let's see here. Also celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1947, John Ratzenberger, American actor and director John Ratzenberger. John Ratzenberger character draft. Cliff Clavin. End of draft. I don't know what else John Ratzenberger did. He was Cliff. He was Cliff in Cheers. Hey there, Nami. That's my John Ratzenberger impression. Thank you. Born on this day in 1952, Mary Lou Henner. Mary Lou Henner character draft. Elaine Nardo from Taxi. That's it. No more. There will be no more drafts. Also born on this day in 1955, Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker. Cool ass actor. I always get Michael Rooker, Michael Madsen, and Tom Sizemore. I get those three guys confused. And either one of them is like a real degenerate, or two of them are real I'm not sure. But I like Michael Rooker. Actually, I like all of those guys. I like Michael Rooker. I like Michael Madsen. And I like Tom Sizemore. Tom Sizemore, I'm pretty sure, is the degenerate, though. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure Tom Sizemore, he's checking a few degenerate boxes. So Michael Rooker, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1955. Born on this day in 1965, a guy that I've got. Oh, really? You've got a story about this guy? I do. Black Francis of the Pixies. Boy, if you're Gen X, you like the Pixies. So it was here in Dallas. It was like our first weekend here in Dallas when we moved down here, and we got taken up to Denton for the Fry Street Festival. The Fry Street back when it was fun. I don't know. Is it still going on? Do they have all these politically correct rules now that make the Fry Street Music and Arts Festival no fun? I don't know. But I had found myself walking behind the stages, and Black Francis was playing. He was playing a solo show, and we watched his show, and I think I went to go pee in the weeds or something like that. I don't know. I had a badge, which was cool because I was on the radio, so I could go places. I don't even know how I got it. They just gave it to me. And I was coming back behind the stages, and I saw this dude loading his equipment, his amplifiers and all this stuff from behind the stage. He was a roadie, just moving this stuff from behind the stage into like a minivan that he was putting it all in. And I'm walking by, and I go, dude, here, let me give you a hand with that, because it was heavy and he was kind of struggling. And I helped him, and I picked it. We put it in there. It was Black Francis loading his own equipment. Loading his own equipment. I looked at him, and I'm like, hey, man, I just saw your set. That was awesome. And he's like, thanks, man. I appreciate that. He's very nice. Helped him, loaded it in, walked away, and went, that dude was in the Pixies. And now he's loading his own equipment into a rented minivan, probably going back to some funky hotel outside Dallas. It didn't jibe well for me, because the Pixies were a seminal group of my college era. I love the Pixies. Anyway, Black Francis, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1965. A true icon of Gen X. But I guess, back then he wasn't an icon of Gen X yet, because there were no icons of Gen X yet in 2001, right? I mean, it was still like too close to it. You had to get like maybe another couple of decades away. Now he is. Now Black Francis is a true. I bet you he can charge 5 times for a concert that would charge for Fry Street Fair back in 2001. Also, born on this day, very important that we note this guy's birthday because it comes before mine. Born on this day in 1969. I would not be born for another couple of months. This is an old man to me. Happy birthday, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is older than me. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Someone born in the exact same year as me. Look at this. Look at this. Look, someone born in the exact same year as me is this year's sexiest man alive. That's got to mean something for my prospects. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel like maybe it's not. It's Paul Rudd. It's Paul Rudd, dummy. Yeah, that's right. Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd movie draft. Oh, God. Who doesn't love Paul Rudd? Okay, here we go in the first round of the Paul Rudd movie draft. And here's the problem with Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd has played the lead in a lot of movies. Recently, he's become, he's a bona fide movie star. Everybody loves Paul Rudd. He's the heir apparent to Tom Hanks, except he hasn't truly shown the Hankian acting chops yet. But as far as being beloved, as far as like everybody thinking, oh, that's a cool guy, Paul Rudd has that. He has the same thing. There's this sort of this order that I saw unfold in my lifetime. There was like Jimmy Stewart. There was like the Jimmy Stewart guy, right? Jimmy Stewart, the old-timey actor. And then Jimmy Stewart kind of handed that off to Tom Hanks. And now we might be handing that off to Paul Rudd. Although I fear Ryan Reynolds might have something to say about it because Ryan Reynolds is turning into a really big movie star in his own right. And he's also very well liked. So Paul Rudd movie draft. First pick in the Paul Rudd movie draft. Paul Rudd, like I was saying, a lot of his stuff is character work. Like he's not necessarily doing the heavy lifting to carry the film, but he plays like a major character in the film, and it's just always such an incredible character. Like the first pick, Paul Rudd was not the star of Anchorman, but played Brian Fontana. I loved Paul Rudd in Anchorman. I love Anchorman. The number 2 pick in the Paul Rudd draft, one of my son and my favorite of the Marvel movies, Ant-Man. Ant-Man, that's right. And that's why it's important that we note that his birthday comes before mine, that he is older than me. Because my son thinks I'm very old, and I like to point out that I'm younger than Iron Man and I'm younger than Ant-Man. And he always pushes back on Ant-Man. You're not younger than Paul Rudd. Yes, I am. Today's his birthday. Trust me, I will call him later today, and I will tell him that. I will say, hey, it's Paul Rudd's birthday. He's older than me. Number 3 in the Paul Rudd movie draft. This is one you may not know. This is one I think the UCB, the Upright Citizens Brigade, put together. I love this movie. This is a really good movie. In the cast, Amy Poehler, Paul Rudd, it's just a great cast of people who, when they made this, were young, up-and-coming people, and now they're all stars. Wet Hot American Summer in the 3rd round of the Paul Rudd draft. Wet Hot American Summer. Kind of like Meatballs. Like, have you ever seen Bill Murray's Meatballs? It's a summer camp movie. It's really good. Number 4 in the Paul Rudd movie draft, Wanderlust. Wanderlust. Paul Rudd, Jennifer Aniston, a couple of people crashing into middle age, decide to just chuck it all and go out and wander the world and enjoy life. Wanderlust. I don't know if many people saw Wanderlust. I love Wanderlust. I think it's funny. There's like an orgy scene that Paul Rudd is very uncomfortable with. That's very funny. And he finds out, I think it's his wife that is super into the orgy. And Paul Rudd is like, no. Number 5, the final pick in the Paul Rudd movie draft on this Paul Rudd's 53rd birthday. This is 40. This is 40. Another really sweet, really good film. Made like a decade ago now. They should update that. Judd Apatow should make another one called This is 50 with the same cast. This is 40. Paul Rudd and his wife who is not Paul Rudd's, but Judd Apatow, his real life wife. I forgot her name. Leslie. I don't know. I like her, but she pretty much only appears in Judd Apatow movies now. He casts his wife, which is fine. By the way, Judd Apatow is now doing the same thing with his daughter. He's just casting his daughter in everything now. Every movie that Paul Rudd makes, he's now casting his wife and his daughter in roles. And that's fine because they're both good. Leslie Mann is Paul Rudd's, or is Judd Apatow's wife. I don't know what his daughter's name is, but that new Netflix movie, The Bubble, I don't know if you've seen it. If you got Netflix, they're promoting it hard, so you've probably seen it come across your page. Terrible movie, really terrible. Judd Apatow, the weird, massive, stupid failure for Judd Apatow, who's one of the great, or is it Apatow? I don't know. I call him Apatow, who's one of the great comedy screenwriter directors of the last 20 years. The Bubble on Netflix. It's terrible, but it stars his wife, who's good in everything. I like her, and his daughter, who's really good. His daughter, Judd Apatow's daughter is really good in this. She plays like a 20-year-old YouTube influencer who, anyway, if you see it, the YouTube influencer who's completely an awful individual, she's his daughter, and her mom plays one of the actresses. Not to be confusing, but the movie is about the making of a movie. Okay, so all the characters play actors and actresses, even though in real life they're actors. Stop over-explaining. People aren't stupid. So happy birthday, Paul Rudd. There you go. Anchorman, Ant-Man, Wet Hot American Summer, Wanderlust, and This Is 40 in my Paul Rudd movie draft. Deaths. We had some deaths on this day. Oh boy, did we. We had a bunch of people who died today, a bunch of big ones. Tammy Wynette died on this day in 1998. Stand by your man. Isn't that her? I think that's her. Dead on this day in 2014, Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney, one of the biggest box office stars of the 1830s. He was a big movie star when he was like 10, and then he was a big movie star through his 20s and all that. And Mickey Rooney played one of the most regrettable roles in film history, and we talk about this a lot, certainly by 2022 standards. I've mentioned this because I love this movie. Have you ever seen the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn, where she plays Holly Golightly, a New York City? She's an escort, but they can't really call her an escort because it's the 1960s. But she's a call girl. Although in the movie they frame her as she's a party girl. She goes out with men for money. But come on, we know what's going on there. She lives in this apartment, and she comes home from her dates with the guys that are paying her money. And I don't know what they're going to do. They're probably just going to talk about existential topics and get into some Asian philosophy, that kind of thing. But when she comes into her apartment late at night after partying with the guys, she's always a little drunk. She's fumbling with her keys and she makes noise. And Mickey Rooney lives upstairs. And Mickey Rooney, who is a short, pudgy, white Irish guy, plays a Japanese dude. He plays the neighbor, the Japanese neighbor, who hates that she makes noise when she comes in. And oh my God, nobody cared. Nobody cared back in 1960. But he had like the big buck teeth, and he was always wearing like a samurai outfit. And he would like, "Oh, Mrs. Golightly, you make too much noise." I mean, it was just so, by today's standards, it's such an offensive character. Hysterical back then. I remember seeing that movie when I was like 12 years old, going, "Ha ha ha!" Because that's how Asians are. Anyway, Mickey Rooney died on this day. Died on this day in 2015. Mickey Rooney died in 2014. Died on this day in 2015. Ray Charles, American singer, songwriter, and conductor. Ray Charles. I'm trying to think if I have any thoughts on Ray Charles. Ray Charles was one of those guys in the 1970s when I was a kid. He would come on TV, like the Tonight Show or something. He'd be on TV and he'd do a song and he'd sit at the piano and he'd be like, it's kind of like the old guy version of Stevie Wonder at the time. They're both blind. And it was just, American treasure, American icon, Ray Charles. I don't have a whole lot of, I saw the movie. Like everything I know about Ray Charles comes from that Jamie Foxx movie. That's it. Good movie, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you a Ray Charles. Georgia! See, you can tell him a Ray Charles song. Thank you, schizophrenic me. Right, Georgia. That's like the one Ray Charles song that I know. He's probably got a whole bunch. As a matter of fact, I'm sure he's got a whole bunch. My ignorance. All right, I told you to put a pin in it because this is weird, man. This is rare when this happens. Died on this day in 2016. Merle Haggard. Whoa, is that weird? Why is that so weird? What do you have, no attention span? Schizophrenic me? It's because about 10 minutes ago, we just talked about how it's Merle Haggard's birthday. Merle Haggard shares a birthday and a death day with himself. How weird is that? That's crazy. That's got to mean something, right? How do you do that? How do you? Somebody else has that. Is it Houdini? I don't know. Maybe it's not Houdini. Somebody else. That's very rare where you die on your birthday. Happy birthday, you're dead. That's okay. So there you go. Merle Haggard. That happened in 2016. And then finally, another big death. These are big deaths today. Died on this day in 2017. So let's see. What was this run we had here? Yeah. Wow. 2014, Mickey Rooney. 2015, Ray Charles. 2016, Merle Haggard. 2017, Don Rickles. That's pretty. That was a run. That was a run on this day. Don Rickles is dead. Don Rickles has been dead for 5 years now. Don Rickles, another one of these guys. I never really. I mean, when I was little, he'd come on the Tonight Show and he'd be mean to Ed and Johnny. And, my grandpa would laugh and laugh. And I'd be like, I don't get half of these jokes. And they're not really jokes. They're just Don Rickles. People love Don Rickles. And that's great. But it seemed to me, and by the way, I watched a documentary not too long ago about Don Rickles where I got to see a whole bunch of his material. Don Rickles' material wasn't funny so much. There wasn't like wit in it. It was just I can't believe he said that. He was one of those guys. He was like one of the first to say things to people that, you didn't say in classy company. You didn't make fun of a woman's weight to her face, but he did. You didn't make fun of a person's shortcomings to their face, but he did. And so people laughed, but I don't know that they were laughing because what he was saying was actually funny, or if people were just laughing because that's the natural reaction, nervous laughter, right? Like, he seemed cool. Hey, Run Silent, Run Deep is one of my favorite. Full disclosure, I love submarine movies. I don't know. There is something about submarine movies, something about a movie set in a submarine that I like. Hunt for Red October. But my favorite, the granddaddy of the submarine, Das Boot, the granddaddy of the submarine movie for me is Run Silent, Run Deep, which was a rare dramatic turn for Don Rickles. Don Rickles was good in Run Silent, Run Deep, and it was a drama role. He wasn't trying to be funny. So, he probably, there it goes. I say it again. Comedians can do drama. Dramatic actors can't necessarily do comedy. Don Rickles, dead on this day in 2017. Are you done shitting on Don Rickles? I wasn't shitting on Don Rickles. I was just saying he was a comedian from a different era and that there may be something to the idea that since him, I have seen a lot of people utilize the comedy technique of nervous laughter. And maybe I'm not giving him all that much credit because he was the first, but he deserves the credit because he did. He pioneered that. It's just that I have seen variations of that over the years. I mean, up to Howard Stern, right? I mean, that whole thing, nervous laughter. I can't believe he said that. That doesn't lessen the contribution that Don Rickles made. It just simply doesn't. I don't have the appreciation for it because I didn't see it first. I saw all the people who acted like Don Rickles. It's like when people go, I don't get the Beatles. They just sound like everybody else. Yeah, but nobody sounded like that before them. Jesus, everybody sounds like the Beatles. The Beatles don't sound like oh, God. All right, let's get into what's trending today because that's what we do here on this show. We talk about the trends. Student loans are trending. The Biden administration has extended the pause on student loan repayments until the end of the summer. This pause, here's what I love. I was looking at a bunch of MAGA today because people are like, oh, Biden, what? Biden doesn't want anybody to pay for anything. Hey, this program was paused by Trump. It started with Trump. He's just continuing what Trump did. Stop it. We're at each other's throats over everything. We're just being dumb. It's just because we're just wired to be at each other's throats. Personally, I think I'm now, if you're familiar with the show, you know that I don't love Bernie Sanders. I find him to be interesting in some of the things that Bernie Sanders says. I like the majority of stuff that he says. I'm just like, yeah, that'll never work. Shut up, sit down. I don't. But Bernie Sanders wants to forgive student loans completely, and I am absolutely all for it. I am all for that. Of course, I'm Gen X, and Gen X is the first generation of American students, college students, who basically had to leverage their entire future in order to get a college education. It wasn't like that for the boomers. Colleges weren't that expensive with the boomers. They didn't have these ridiculous loans. But what they decided was that they'll just make colleges really expensive so that students, Gen Xers like myself and millennials and all the people that came after, so that we could then go to the banks and it would spur the economy and we could, we'll pay it off over the next 30 years of our life. So basically what that means is that generations of Americans have graduated from college wickedly in debt, a level of debt that they won't get out of until their 50s and 60s when it's time to retire. And then where's their retirement? It's bullshit. It was just designed to spur the banks so that the banks could just rape a bunch of kids who all they wanted to do was have a better life. That's it. That's what it's about. And I'll go back to this. I say this a lot. I'm a capitalist, man. I am all for capitalism. I think that if you have an idea and you can make money off it, and I think that if you provide jobs to people and they come in and they work hard and they contribute to the economy, I think that's a wonderful thing. Capitalism is a wonderful thing. American capitalism, American style capitalism has gone off the rails. Oh, what are you, a socialist? I'm not a socialist. I'm a capitalist. I just told you I'm a capitalist. I'm not a socialist. But why is it that we here in the United States of America are the only civilized nation that finds profit centers in educating our kids, taking care of our sick, and imprisoning our criminals? That's what we do. We make money. Our capitalism has run off to the point where put them in jail, make some money off them. Huh? Oh, you're sick? Make some money off them. They're desperate. They'll pay. Oh, you want to learn something after high school, do you? You want to be a specialist in some field? Ooh, you're going to have to pay for that. That's wrong. That's wrong. As a country, we should be encouraging kids to go to college. It's in our best interest as a nation to have a hyper educated and globally competitive young class of people. It's important to us. We don't dig ditches anymore. We don't have factories. We have to make sure that our kids are smart and competitive and able to keep pace with all the other countries that just send their kids to colleges for free and they get all educated up. Oh, the college isn't free in other countries. Yeah, it may not be completely free in other countries, but it certainly doesn't put their students in debt for the next 40 years. Healthcare, money center. Prison, money center. School, education of our populace, money center. That's ridiculous. That's why student loans is trending. And that's been my little rant on it. So I am with Bernie. I think we forgive the student loans. I think that we say, you know what? Clean slate. Let's go. Let's reform the student loan lending process at the federal level, at the banking level. Let's do that. Let's make the changes that we need to encourage kids to get smart. I mean, we got a bunch of dumb people. We've got so many dumb people in this country. Have you seen? I mean, come on. Okay. Amir Locke is trending. Amir Locke is the man who was killed by SWAT team in Minnesota a couple of months ago. The SWAT team raided the house and the SWAT team shot him dead while he was on the couch. He was sleeping on the couch. It was an early morning raid. But he had a gun. He had a gun in his hand, and the video clearly shows that the door gets knocked down, and he pops out of bed, and he's got the gun in his hand, and before he could squeeze off a shot, they put him down. Now, I understand the arguments. Well, somebody knocked through your door. Aren't you allowed to arm yourself? I thought this was a Second Amendment country. Yeah, that's for normal people. That's for normal people who don't sleep with a gun because they're engaged in some criminal activity that's going on, right? I mean, he had a gun because he was in the life, as they say. This isn't your grandpa who hears something in the middle of the night, so he goes downstairs with his shotgun and ends up getting, it's not the same situation. This is a different situation. He was sleeping on the couch with a gun. With a gun, so that when someone kicked in the door, I don't know if he thought it was a rival gang or whatever, drops the blanket and he's got a gun and he's dead. And of course, we live in times where we have to look at all of these situations and we have to be very specific about what's happening in these situations. And there are, and I've been distressed by it just as much as most of us have, but there are situations where, yeah, the police are at fault. I did not see it in this one. I did not see the police being at fault. I saw a guy emerge from under a blanket holding a gun and the SWAT team shot him. Oh, but they're just murderers. No, they're not. No, they're SWAT teams. They were sent in to do a job. The SWAT team didn't get together that morning over coffee and say, let's kick in someone's door and fuck with them. That is not what happened. The SWAT team is out there ostensibly to protect us all. Okay. Well, what aren't you a Democrat? First of all, I'm not a Democrat. I'm a moderate. I'm in the middle. Oh, but then what about the people who want to ban the police? Nobody wants to ban the police. Crazy ass lunatics on the left want to ban the police. It's the same people. Oh, so if the left is people who want to ban the police, so then the right is all people who think JFK Jr. is still alive? Is that it? No, these are very small, crazy slivers that get amplified because they're saying some interesting stuff. They're not interesting in, oh, that's good, we should consider it. Interesting in that, what the fuck did he say? What? JFK, Jesus, and Reagan are going to come back riding dinosaurs? What? You want to ban the police? You want to defund? What? Those are not real issues, but they're issues that make people go, well, that's crazy. And I think all people who are on that side of the aisle, that's what they believe. That's not true. It's just not true. So anyway, Amir Locke is trending because Minnesota prosecutors have declined to file charges against the Minneapolis police SWAT team officer who fatally shot Amir Locke while executing a no-knock warrant in February. Now, do you have an issue with no-knock warrants? Because that's a real issue. We can talk about the application and use of no-knock warrants. That's a real thing that we can have a serious conversation about. But the SWAT team member who killed the guy who emerged from under the blanket holding a gun is not a murderer. He is a SWAT team member who has an incredibly scary job. We signed up for it. Oh, shut up. Somebody's got to sign up for it. He just wanted to go home to his family. That's all. Stop it. This is not murder. It was an unfortunate accident. Or I don't even know that it was an accident. I don't know. When you emerge from under a blanket with a gun, you seem to be signaling that you're ready to use that gun. You went to bed with that gun in your hand on the couch, ready to use it. That seems to suggest that you have no qualms about using it. So, there you go. So whether we're going to have problems surrounding the Amir Locke decision in Minneapolis, oh my God, get your shit together, Twin Cities. Seriously, it's always Minneapolis. It's always Minneapolis. Ay. Okay, there we go. And again, I'm not disparaging the people who believe that there is a problem with an unequal distribution of justice in this country. I think that's a very real issue. But every single incident is not another black check. Crime is a thing and it happens. And are there bad cops? Oh, shit, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know myself. I know a bunch of bad cops, but I also know a bunch of good cops. I also know a bunch of people who are good people who are cops. This is not it's not zero sum. It's not all this, all that. Oh. Clean Water Act is also trending. The Clean Water Act is trending. Sirens. Tuesday. There you go. First Tuesday of the month. Okay. It's tornado season. So, it's beautiful outside and the sirens are going off. Are the sirens going off near you in the North Texas area? Chime in if they are. The Clean Water Act is trending because the Supreme Court, and I see that I was going to say, I see that Adam Reyna is commenting, and I was not going to take the bait, but he and I agree. No knock warrants did lead to this. No knock warrants are a problem. We agree on that. Clean Water Act is trending. The Supreme Court of the United States voted on Wednesday, 5-4, exactly how all of these issues are going to go down now for a while. The Supreme Court voted on Wednesday 5-4 to temporarily reinstate a Trump-era rollback on the Clean Water Act. This upholds time limitations for states and tribes to veto projects like pipelines that could impact their water supplies. So basically what this means is, if big business wants to, drag a pipeline through whatever, Iroquois Nation or whatever it is, there used to be ways that they could hold that up in court. They could file all kinds of things and construction would stop. We've seen it a lot. But now the Supreme Court said, yeah, they can't do that anymore. And just that, they're impeding business. They're impeding whatever. So, okay. So there you go. Clean water. Apparently that's not important. I'll tell you, I am lucky to be squatting. I'm living life. But I'm squatting in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in America. This is, I believe it's the 7th wealthiest zip code in America where I'm currently living. I tell you a lot, the 1%er compound where I live here. My water sucks. My water sucks, man. The big house water, they got a purifier and all that kind of stuff, big apparatus on the thing. But here I just got regular old tap water, and sometimes it comes out and I'm like, this is the 7th wealthiest zip code in America. You're telling me that the rich people ain't getting, well, the rich people can afford the purifiers. So like, yeah, just don't have one out here in the guest house comfort nest. But I drink it. Whatever. Clean water. How important is clean water? Deutsche Bank is trending. Deutsche Bank, the German banking Goliath. Deutsche Bank on Tuesday became the first major bank on Wall Street to forecast a recession next year, just in time for the midterms. So that's a thing that's going to happen. A recession next year, says Deutsche Bank. Putin's daughters are trending. This is good. Putin's daughters are trending. I didn't know Putin had daughters, but I saw him now. I saw what Putin's daughters look like. He's one of them. One of them looks just like him. Like, have you ever like seen like say the father is like famous or just well known, or like he was your 5th grade math teacher or whatever, and then you see his daughter, and his daughter might be attractive, but all you see is the father. That's kind of like what Putin's daughters have going on. Like one of them is like, okay, I think she's attractive. Yeah, but she looks. I can now when I look at her, all I see is Putin in those beady eyes. So why are Putin's daughters trending? Here, this is why Putin's daughters are trending. We're now sanctioning his kids. Yeah. Rumors are that Putin is the wealthiest man in the world, an estimated worth of some say as high as $500 billion. $500 billion. He's just been raping the country, Russia, the entire time that he's been there. And his daughters are like obviously super duper wealthy. Vladimir Putin's secret daughters, are they secret? I don't know if they're secret. Vladimir Putin's secret daughters have been hit with sanctions in the wake of their tyrant father's horrific war crimes in the Ukraine. Dr. Maria Vorontsova, 36, a geneticist, and Dr. Katarina Tikhonova, 34, a dancer turned mathematician, are being blackballed by UK leaders and the US amid the Russian despot's continuing atrocities. Putin's daughters both get like doctors in front of their names. Do you think that when they were in medical school or going for their doctorate, do you think that they really had to crack the books? Do you think that there was a college or university in Russia that was not going to just make them doctors no matter what? Like, think about it. I don't know. Here, let's take a look at Putin's daughters. Let's see what they look like. We got some pictures here. I'll show you what I mean. Putin's daughters. Here we go. We'll go to look at these. Gotta look at these ladies. One of them is cute, and then you stare at her and you're like, oh, she's Putin. I get it. All right, so here we go. So okay, so there's okay, so that's it was a good picture. Here you go. Look at her. Look at her. That's Dr. Maria Vorontsova. She's 36 years old. She'll be slapped with sanctions in the wake of her despot father's horrific war crimes. She's the one that's all right, but get these Putin eyes. I just see Putin there. And then who's this one? Is that her too? Or is that the other one? All right. She's on a boat. Probably some fantastic yacht. Some like $100 million yacht. This one right here. Here's what I look at. That looks like Putin. That just looks like Putin in like a beetle wig. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I couldn't get with that. Too much like her dad. All right, there you have it. That's why Putin's daughters are trending. On to the next trend. Let's see what else is happening today. New Orleans Police Department is trending. New Orleans Police Department is trending. Here's another one I'm going to show you. This is a feel-good video. I love this. I absolutely adore this video. This is from... Hold on. We'll make sure we get it properly. All right. Oh, there we go. Bum, bum, bum. So the New Orleans Police Department is trending because they're saying, hey, don't do this. Well, what's this? This is don't rig your car. Like if you're afraid of your car being broken into, don't rig your car. To do something to the person that's trying to break into it. This dude in the cool-ass white pickup truck, and that is a cool-ass white pickup truck, this dude in the cool-ass white pickup truck was tired of people breaking into his vehicle, so he rigged it with a flashbang so that should anyone try and rob his car, something would happen. This video was taken by, looks like security camera. Good security camera, too, by the way. Most of the time we see these security cam footage, and it's just like black and white and grainy, and it's not really useful at all. This one is good. This one is nice. The colors are in full color. All right, so let's see what happens here when somebody tries to rob this car. And again, NOPD is trending. New Orleans Police Department is trending because they're saying, yeah, don't do this. To which I'm saying, no, do this. Here we go. All right. Yeah, man, let's rob this truck. Okay, look at this. All right. There, I'm just gonna smash the window because I'm a piece of shit. And now I'm gonna dive in there and let's see what's in. Oh my god! Let's watch it again. I'm all for this. I love the stories where you hear like people like have rattlesnakes living in their car. It's my pet rattlesnake. He stays in the car when I'm not there. If someone robs the car, I love that stuff. Well, how do you get the rattlesnake out of the car? Well, I don't drive the car much. Well, okay. Here he goes again. Again, New Orleans Police Department is saying, don't do this. To which I'm saying, absolutely do this. Absolutely do this kind of stuff. There is nothing more. Oh, here he goes. And flashbang in 3, 2, 1, go. Go. There it is. Oh, whoop, whoop. I hope he cut himself. I hope he's deaf right now. Is all he's hearing in his ears. Screw that guy. That guy's a piece of shit. All right. So that's why that's trending. That was fun, wasn't it? Have you ever had your car broken into? Have you ever had, I had my car broken into. They stole my CDs. The dude who broke into my car isn't going to like my collection of, Pixies albums and homemade mixtapes. That's not something that they stole my CDs. They stole my radio. They smashed my window. Oh my God, did it suck. I felt so violated. I was so angry. And honestly, I would have killed that person. I was so angry and so rageful. And here's the thing. I saw it happen. Like I saw it happen. I had come in and a friend had dropped me off in the back and I was walking into, this was in the city in Chicago, and I was walking into the side door. And as I was walking into the side door, I put on the lights. So the light on the porch lit up And as the light lit up, I heard someone running, and then they jumped into a car and they sped off. And I went and I walked out and I went, wonder what that was about. Went inside, went to bed, spent the whole night in bed, woke up in the morning, window smashed, all my stuff was stolen. I was so angry. I'm like, that's what that was. I was so angry. I would have killed that person. I would have committed murder against a fellow human being for taking a bunch of stupid Huey Lewis CDs. I don't know if they were Huey Lewis. I probably didn't have Huey Lewis CDs, but you know what I mean? What was it? It was a bunch of Cure, some INXS, some Police, some Springsteen, some Pixies, some Clash. That's what they got. And I can't imagine. I'm just, look, I know the neighborhood I was in. I know what the people who were stealing my CD, they didn't want that music. That's not the music that they wanted. As far as I'll go on that. But come on, let's use our heads. Hey man, what's that? Pixies. Put it in. They're not even going to appreciate the CDs that they stole from me. All right, let's see. Maybe there was some Run DMC in there. I don't know. Maybe some Beastie Boys. Maybe. But they were not gonna. They were not going to appreciate my CD collection, and that I think hurt more than anything else. If I had thought that maybe they would get some enjoyment, I'd be like, I'm a benevolent dude. Okay, so they needed some early Pearl Jam. That's fine. Hope they enjoy it. Let's see here. Hillsong Church. Are you following this story about the Hill? Do you know what the Hillsong Church is? Oh God, it's one of these. Now look. I think you all know that I'm not really I'm not a big religious guy. I'm not faithless. Don't say that I'm godless or faith. Don't say that, because that's completely not true, and you suck for making those kind of judgments. I do not subscribe in any form, any way, shape, or form. I don't appreciate groupthink. I don't appreciate, let's all get together and this is what we're all going to think, and okay, don't question it. And with a lot of organized religion, that's what I see. I witness a lot of groupthink. Now, there are some organized religions that I'm a little bit more tolerant of, and maybe that is because I come from, Catholicism, Lutherans, any of the main established legacy Christian offshoots. I'm fine with those. Baptists, that kind of thing. Jews, right? Islam, right? These things all go back thousands of years, and there's tradition and there's all this stuff. What I really look side-eye at are these like new churches that, are offshoots of Christianity, whether they're the Pentecostals or the evangelical movement or all this stuff. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, I'm a Catholic. We go all the way back to Jesus. That's pretty much when our church started. How about you? Oh, when I was in high school, your church started in the mid-'80s? Oh, cool. Same thing. No, not the same thing. It's not the same thing. I don't agree with any of them. I'm just saying, Hillsong is one of these. It's one of the biggest evangelical Christian church organizations in the world, and it's based in Australia and New Zealand, and they have Hillsongs everywhere, and it's these big mega churches, with carpeting. That's one of my rules. If your church has carpeting, it ain't a real church. I don't want to go into a church that has wall-to-wall carpeting. I don't want to go into a church that has a dude, a band, like a rock band, that later that night I can see playing at a bar. That is not to me. Music at the church is supposed to be awful. It's supposed to be, it's supposed to suck. There's supposed to be random chimes ding, 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 coming from like somewhere. It's supposed to be an awful experience. Well, I'm Catholic. I think that's what part of Catholic Church is about. It's supposed to be awful. There's just gory, violent porn everywhere of like some poor guy being tortured. We're supposed to look at this. Oh my God. But again, that's all right. If I walk into your church and it's got like folding chairs, card tables, and wall-to-wall carpeting with an alcoholic ponytail, former alcoholic, recovering alcoholic ponytail guy strumming a guitar playing Bob Dylan songs. I'm not, that's not even real to me. That, I don't know what this is. That's nuts. All right, you're talking about Jesus. That's good. Jesus was an awesome guy. He had probably the greatest human being that ever lived. I can get off on that. That dude had some good stuff to say. But the rest of this stuff, I don't know. Oh, what's that? You hate gays? Oh, geez, really? All right, I'm out. What's that? You hate people? There are humans that were created in God's image, and you're telling me that they suck and they're going to hell, and you have absolutely no compassion or love for them or understand. Oh, okay, I'm out. And by the way, that is my take on basically all organized religions, that they just, there's too much disrespect for other human beings that are maybe different. Do you know that one of the first things that I was taught as a Catholic when I was little was that everybody else was going to hell? Everybody else. It didn't matter. Gandhi is going to hell because Gandhi's not a Catholic. I was told that and very early on, I kind of realized that this has to be bullshit because there are so many people in the world. How is it that only us were the only ones who got it right? There's all these other. So at any rate, Hillsong is one of these newfangled churches started in 1983, and it seems to be a massive corporation. They make money all around the world. There are Hillsong churches everywhere. And the main pastor is this guy named Brian Houston. And Brian Houston has been forced to step down because, hey, guess what? Turns out he's kind of a dirtbag. He's kind of a rapist. He's kind of a touchy. He's kind of, yeah. So Hillsong Church is trending because Brian Houston has apologized to his Hillsong congregation for misconduct, but he still sees God's work ahead of him. He says, we have no intention of retiring. Well, of course not, because you've got a private jet to pay for. You've got multiple 20,000 square foot compounds around the globe to pay for. And also, Hillsong is trending because now a whole bunch of people who run Hillsong churches around the globe are saying, yeah, we only run a Hillsong church because Hillsong came into the market. I mean, this is God. This is supposed to be a religion. And they're acting like, Walmart moving in and shutting down the mom and pop hardware store, right? That's kind of how Hillsong went about their expansion. They moved into different areas and they went to regular established community churches and they said, you are going to give us your church. And if you don't give us your church, we will then put you out of business. We will crush you because we will come in here and we will build the Walmart of churches and no one's going to want to go to your stupid little storefront church anymore. So all of these established congregations, when Hillsong expanded into their area, were forced to basically become a franchise. They were forced to basically say, okay, we're now a Hillsong church. And those stories are coming out now about how the aggressive sort of bloodlust Hillsong had for their expansion. It's also interesting. Brian Houston, who is the founder of Hillsong, he's the one that's been kicked out for touchy, feely. He is apologizing. He's saying, hey, whatever I did. Well, that's probably not the way he apologized, but you know what I'm saying? I've sinned against you. He's doing that whole bit that they all do. And, but here's what he's doing. Part of his apology is he's blaming his father. His father, a guy named Frank Houston, who in the 1960s and 70s was like a Jimmy Swaggart type guy in Australia and New Zealand. So this Brian Houston, who created this massive corporation called Hillsong Church, this guy, he is like second generation. He took the ball from, he's like Vince McMahon in the WWE. Vince McMahon's dad had this big regional wrestling thing, and then Vince McMahon took it over and turned it global. Well, that's kind of what happened. So Brian Houston is being forced out. He's asked to step down as the main preacher for Hillsong, and he's saying, I'm sorry I did it, but here's what my dad did. And then he just threw his dad under the bus. It's because of who my dad was. No, it's because of who you are. Really? Is that what your God teaches you, to just pass the buck? Yeah, and it turns out Frank Houston, the dad, major piece of garbage, major awful, pious man of God, but also major piece of garbage. Brian Houston further expressed regret at not having reported his father to the police when he learned of the sexual abuses in 1999, but noted that here's his excuse. So, his dad raped kids, lots of them. Lots of them. And yet, that didn't stop the son from growing this massive carpeted Christian cathedral empire. His dad was a kid rapist. So he says, I feel bad that I didn't report my dad when I knew he was a kid rapist. But his excuse? Other senior members of the church didn't do it either. Is that like a is that a cool Jesus thing? Jesus wouldn't be cool with that. Jesus wouldn't be like, yeah, pass the. And he said unto thee, pass thine buck unto thine father. That's not how it works. You take responsibility. Brian Houston, if he wanted to really say, look, my dad was really bad. Maybe it's genetics. Even that's passing the buck. So let's find out here what Hillsong's dad, Frank Houston, did. This is crazy. Hold on. Sex crimes against children. During Frank Houston's tenure as lead Assemblies of God in New Zealand from 65 to 77, he abused many young boys. One victim in Sydney was routinely subjugated. One was routinely subjected to sexual abuse from the age of 7 to 12. In 99, his mother reported the abuse to the church. At the time, Frank's son, Brian, the one we're talking about, was the national president of the Assemblies of God Australia organization. Upon hearing the report of the sexual abuse regarding his father, Brian Houston immediately dismissed his father, forcing Frank to quietly resign from the Sydney Christian Life Center with a pension. By November of 2000, internal church investigations had discovered that several additional cases of child sex abuse had occurred. Although Brian and the Assemblies of God Executives Council were legally obligated to report the crimes, they did not do so. Frank Houston made a payment of $10,000 to one victim. Oh, all right. We're good. Praise Jesus. What is it with all of the kid did? See, and people want to say, it's like, well, it's the Catholic priests because they can't have sex. Okay, first of all, Catholic priests have sex. I got news for you. No, they don't. Yeah, they do. Catholic priests have a lot of sex. It's a thing. Everybody who's involved in Catholicism knows that their priest is, it's a thing, okay? So it's not just like they can't have sex and that's why they're diddling boys. No, that's not what it is. And there's other aspects to Catholicism and the diddling of kids and all that kind of stuff. It has to do with the community and how the Catholic Church within Catholic communities is a bit of a sanctuary. So if you're growing up in an era, which is not necessarily the case anymore, but in an era where your sexuality, if it didn't, fall into the heterosexual category, you would be deemed a deviant. So that for a Catholic person who felt that they were a deviant, they might then gravitate towards some form of salvation, which would lead them into the church. Please save me, God. I'm going to work. See, I might be a deviant, but look at what I'm doing. And then, a couple of years later, they're still sexual deviants. And so that's that. But what's the deal with like the other Christian groups like Hillsong? These dudes can get married. These dudes have kids. These pastors have normal lives. What's with all the diddling? Disgusting. All right, so that's why Hillsong Church is trending. Spent way too much time on that. Yeah, I know, but I had things to say. And again, I want to make it perfectly clear. Some of my best friends are devoutly religious. E goes to church every Sunday. He's not crazy. Like he goes to a church that I wouldn't set foot in. They had some issues, but he freely admits that he doesn't agree with all that stuff, and he has his own relationship with his God, and he chooses to worship in this manner at this place. And it doesn't mean any kind of advocacy for some of the crazy things that I'm saying crazy things, not him, but whatever, man. Faith is a very important thing to people. It's an incredibly important thing. You must respect whatever the individual uses to get through life. life sucks. Life is a bunch of, if you can find something that brings you some form of peace, that answers some of the deep questions that you have about life, and it just happens to be organized religion, then that's wonderful. God bless you. I'm so happy that you found that. I know people who are involved in their churches who are wonderful people, kind, decent, hardworking, involved. They actually have empathy for their communities, and that's why they show up for that's why they organize the fundraisers and the bingos and the giveaways to needy kids and all those kinds of things. They do wonderful things. So I begrudge no man or woman their faith. But as I always like to say, for me, I don't appreciate being 5 years old and having somebody tell me, here's all the answers. Don't ask any more questions. This is how you think for the rest of your life. And that was done to me. That was done to me as a Catholic. Here are the answers. Oh, you got questions about life? Here they are. They're all in this book. Don't look any further. Here you go. Just deal with it. And I had questions. I was like, I don't think that this doesn't work for me. Well, then be happy burning in hell. Well, see, I don't think it works like that either. I think that if I'm a good person and if I treat people kindly and I try to put out good energy, what are you, a hippie? No, not a hippie. I'm Gen X. That was the generation before me. What's the matter with you? Mike Tyson is trending. Why is Mike Tyson trending? I may find a religion. I may. I mean, I am open to it. I am not completely against it. I will say this. I am open-minded. If I find out, I'm not going to go to any, I will never accept any organization that is trying to lure me that hates other human beings. Mr. Popular. I'm going to have to send that one to, there we go. If you've got a problem with people's choices in life, if you've got a problem with who they want to love, if you think that women are incapable of overseeing a congregation, these kinds of things, okay, I'll take you're off the charts. You're not even there. I'm not even considering you at this point. But man, there's a lot of things like Buddhism. I'm very into Buddhism. I think that the core tenets of Buddhism are just so great. That's just all about be cool, man. Just love people. Don't cause problems. Make this part your path in life. Make that your gateway to what comes next. It's not about follow these rules. It's about follow what you know to be right. What am I doing here? I'm starting to do like a religious show. And that is not what we want to do here. And I'm not going to join Buddhism. I'm not going to be a Buddhist. I'm just saying that there are little pieces from all different religions that are like, yeah, I can get behind that. That's good. There are things about Catholicism that I love. There are things about Judaism that I love. There are things about Mike Tyson is trending. Why is Mike Tyson trending? Well, I'll tell you why he's trending, because remember we talked about his new edible weed products, Mike Bites, that are in the shape of ears, which is just so. Mike, I don't know if you came up with this. If you've got somebody in your marketing department there at Mike Tyson Weed Company, which I assume it's called, who came up with the Mike Bites concept shaped like ears, give them a raise. That is so genius. I want Mike Bites. I want Mike Tyson edible gummies that are shaped like human ears. That is so brilliant. Well, you can't have them. Can't have them in Colorado. Colorado has banned these Mike Tyson gummy bites. And why are they banned, Pugs? It's got to be a sensible reason. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a sensible reason at all. Colorado, you can get all kinds of edibles. They were the first in the nation to make all of that stuff legal. But apparently they are saying no to Mike Tyson and his Mike Bites. Why? Mike Bites aren't able to hit the shelves in Colorado because of a law against selling human-shaped edibles. What? What do you mean? What do you mean human-shaped edible? First of all, it's an ear. I don't know a human being alive who's shaped like an ear. It is a part. Apparently, they have a law in Colorado. They have no laws in Colorado. Colorado is like laws, who needs them? But they got this one, and it's going to stop people from being able to buy Mike Bites because they're in the shape of an ear. A 2016 state law prohibits marijuana edibles from being shaped like humans, animals, fruit, or other objects that could attract children. Okay, animals, fruit, I get that. The little kids, I don't get it, but I can at least wrap my mind kind of around that. Humans? How is something shaped like a human going to be an attraction to a kid? I don't. That's so stupid. You know what? They don't want like what, edible dicks? Is that what they're afraid of? Is that what they're? It's like, hey, look, number one says an edible dick. Come on, man, that's silly. Mike Tyson ear-shaped gummies is brilliant. Change that law. Oh God, here's another law. You ready to get controversial? Are you ready? Oh my God, Palm Springs is trending. Palm Springs, California. Why is Palm Springs trending? California City approves pilot program to give trans and non-binary residents up to $900 per month. Okay, so I understand how you just let's say you're a citizen of Palm Springs. They're handing out $900 a month to you if you're trans or non-binary. Trans, I understand. Trans, you can look at a person and you're like, yeah, I get it. Okay, you're trans. Check. That's I can totally see what's going on. But non-binary, couldn't I just say I'm non-binary? Where's my check? Hi, I'm non-binary. Where's my check? All right, and that's not even the tip of this iceberg. Or that is the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more that is so maddening about this law or this new program in Palm Springs. California City approves pilot program to give trans and non-binary residents up to $900 per month. Now let's read it. City of Palm Springs, California recently granted $200,000 to two nonprofit groups looking to design a pilot program to offer a universal basic income of up to $900 per month to transgender and non-binary Palm Springs residents who meet a poverty threshold. And honestly, all right, so you're broke, right? So you're a dude, you just go down to the city office wearing a dress and lipstick and you can go, hey, look, I'm trans, give me my $900. I'd totally be willing to do that for $900. For $900. And universal basic income. Let's talk about this. All right. Because this is all, we're starting to see this a lot. This was during the last presidential run-up. Andrew Yang? Andrew Yang. Is it Andrew Yang or is it Andrew Wang? I don't know. He's the guy who then ran for mayor. I like him. I like him. He seems really smart. He probably would be better than Biden. But he didn't get much traction. First of all, he's Asian, and I don't think that helped. I mean, not that it should be a detriment, but I'm just saying, in this time of whatever the hell time this is, the Kung Flu, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just don't think people would listen to what he said because there's a lot of people who have been turned against Asians for really silly reasons. Anyway, universal basic income. I don't want to get into it, but I do not think it's an altogether terrible thing. It is not an altogether terrible thing. If our nation, if the drive of our nation's economy has determined that we make more money for the country does better economically when we send the jobs overseas, which is where we are now. Remember 20, 30 years ago was they're sending our jobs overseas and nobody's got where the factories are closing down. Bruce Springsteen made an entire career writing songs about this thing. We haven't changed. We haven't changed. Okay. We don't have factories anymore. We don't make things anymore, right? All we do is, and technology has moved us to a point now where there are less and less jobs for humans because a robot, and when I say robot, I mean a computer or artificial intelligence or whatever the hell it is, they can now do the job of 1,000 people, 1,000, 10,000 people. One program can do the job that used to employ 10,000 people. We had a middle class based on the idea that people went to work and they built things. That's not where we are now. Now, the companies with these artificial intelligence and these robots and the automation that has come into virtually every aspect of the American economy, the companies are making more money than ever. The corporations, it's not like, yeah, it's times are different. We're not making as much and people don't have jobs. No, that's not what it is. It's just people don't have jobs. And now we are making like 5 times what we ever made. Just look at CEO salaries. CEO salaries in the past 20 years have increased exponentially. So that begs the question. We've got a society that is underemployable and unemployable because and also, if you want to learn how to build these robots and really be the person that makes these robots, you have to go to college. And then we've got that whole college loan thing that we talked about earlier. We're not really encouraging our people to get smart. We just kind of want them all sitting around smoking crack and excuse me. So universal basic income seems like something that, okay, fine. If we're going to have robots doing everything. If we're going to have artificial, we're not going to provide any kind of economy or workplace for the citizens of this country. Well, since the corporations are making all this, how about we just pay people? Just pay people to do look at us. You know what we'd be? We'll be like Atlantis. In 30 years, we'll be like Atlantis. We'll just be a shit ton of singer-songwriters and performers and artists. Why? Oh, the country will go to hell. No, it won't. The robots got it. See, that's the whole point. People think you can't. Somebody's got to be a ditch digger. They can't all be artists. Well, guess what? Nobody needs to be a ditch digger anymore because we've got now the steam shovel. Now, we've got things that can do all of that stuff. So what we've got to do, and by the way, half of you people that are hearing this that are going, oh, fuck that. Oh, you're just going to give people money for nothing. Dude, your job is going away. The people who are opposed to this are like these brainwashed middle-class people who don't understand that their jobs are going away. It's like when we had that, remember the Canadian truck boycott, when Elon Musk donated all of this money so that these truckers could continue to block the bridge between Windsor, Ontario, and Detroit. And they were like, Elon Musk is supporting us. Elon Musk totally. No, Elon Musk wanted you to block that bridge from Canada to Detroit because guess what's on the Detroit side? General Motors. And guess what General Motors is doing? Building electric vehicles. And guess what Elon Musk is also doing? Building electric vehicles. Elon Musk paid you people, and you didn't even connect the dots or follow the money. You just hailed him as some great hero. Elon Musk paid for that because it shut down the factories in Detroit that were his competition for electric vehicles. That's what that was about. And also, Elon Musk is building autonomous trucks. That's right. All of you truck drivers who aren't there thinking that, oh, Elon Musk, he's got our back. No, he doesn't. He's putting you all out of jobs. In 20 years, they ain't going to be truckers. The last American cowboys of the great wide open, you guys are not going to be needed anymore. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go to college. Oh, you're going to get a loan? Really? You know what the interest rates on college loans are? Really, you, Mr. 55-year-old father of 4, you're going to now transition into some sort of high-tech job because you're going to go to college. You're not going to be able to afford college. So all I'm saying is that the idea of a universal basic income needs to be explored because otherwise we will have revolution in this country like you have never seen. We will have millions and millions of people out of work, pissed off. And it ain't going to go well for the people. It ain't going to go well for the people in this neighborhood. It ain't going to go well for the 1%ers. So that is why people are now speaking more about universal basic income. Okay, back to Palm Springs. Giving the universal basic income to trans people and non-binary people. Oh, God. Come up with a great idea, and I will show you an American bureaucracy that just wrecks it, that just completely misses the point and destroys it. So they've got $200,000. And they're going to do a pilot program for this $200,000. And they're going to give it to trans and non-binary citizens because it's got to be hard to be like that. It's hard to get a job when you're like that. It's hard to get a job when you're like anything in this society. Why are you singling out these people? You say these people like there's a problem with them. There's no problem with them. They're people just like everybody else. But why aren't we giving out universal basic income checks of $900 to redheads? People don't like redheads. They're soulless gingers. City of Palm Springs has $200,000 earmarked for these two different pilot programs to offer universal basic income of $900 a month to transgender and non-binary Palm Spring residents who meet poverty thresholds. What about fat people who meet poverty thresholds? Do you know how hard it is for a super fat person to get a job? And I keep going back to that because that is the reason that the mayor of Palm Springs keeps saying, well, it's difficult when you're non-binary or trans to get a job. And I say it's difficult when you're different in any way to get a job. You know what, Palm Springs? You better be all full up on your social services for single moms and for kids who are raised without fathers and for people who need counseling. And you better have all of them fucking boxes checked because you're giving out $200,000 to trans and non-binary people just for being trans and non-binary. And this is not anything against that community. Like I always say, they are a part of the greater American experiment. They are people. They are our neighbors. They are our friends. They are the people that walk among us. There's nothing necessarily special about them, unless we're going to start classifying all groups as having special needs. Because like I said, fat person, really, you see really gross fat people in Walmart. You think it's easy for them to get a job? Do you? How about ugly people? All right, City of Palm Springs, ugly people don't get hired. This $900 a month is going to ugly women who can't get waitressing jobs. If you're an ugly woman and you've at least applied for one job at Hooters, we're going to give you $900. This is ridiculous, and this is why people hate fucking California. The proposed pilot program would see 20 transgender and non-binary Palm Spring residents receiving the taxpayer-funded money for 18 months. It would also include a second group of 20 transgender and non-binary people who would not receive the money and would serve as a control group. Hi, my name is X. I'm non-binary. I'm here to sign up for the program. Which group am I in? Oh, welcome, X. I'm so glad to have you here. How would I say it? Yeah. Welcome, X. I'm so happy to have yous here. You are in the control group, the one that doesn't get any money. Fuck that. My name is Bob. Stupid. I hate this. I hate this story. There are ways to help this community without aggressively making them victims when they don't need to be victimized. We are saying with this universal basic income program in Palm Springs that is giving $900 a month to trans and non-binary people, we are saying that, here, make it go away. Here's some money. When I'm telling you, there are far more deserving groups. This is not to say that group is not having a difficult time. They are having a difficult time. But let's look at it on the whole. They're having a much better time than they did, say, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, we are at a moment now where we are acknowledging as a society that this group of human beings are among us. They have a right to be among us. They have a right to live their lives as openly and as happily as the rest of us, right? The pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. That's something that we are acknowledging for this community now. But again, I say, can we give $900 a month to single mothers in Palm Springs who meet the poverty threshold? Oh, no, not them. No. This is for the trans community or for people who are non-binary. I have no idea how you enforce this legitimately. No idea. And this is not to say, again, this is not to say that I'm against having real serious conversations about ways to implement a universal basic income program for the middle class in this country, because the middle class is being shit on. And here's the thing that kills me. It is the middle class that is essentially shitting on themselves with their Fox News and their OAN and their MAGA rallies, or the middle class that is over on the other side that is showing up and marching and saying get rid of this, and middle class needs to smarten up. The middle class of the United States of America, I'll tell you, if there was ever a movement to truly rally and unify the middle class of the United States of America, we would have real change in this country. But the problem, as I always say, it's the mansion on the hill complex. The middle class in this country has forever looked at that mansion on the hill and said, someday, baby, that's going to be us. Well, guess what? It's never going to be you. You're middle class. You can dream, yeah, but if I act like them, and if I vote like them, and if I support the things like them, they might like me and they might make me one of them. Middle class America, you have far more in common with the people that are right behind you, the lower class that you shit on at every moment. You are a puppet of the upper class. Stop it. Oh man, look at me. Look at me going off on my tangents. Boy, let's rally the middle class. Let's rally the middle class to be cool, to be understanding, and to recognize who's really pulling the strings and keeping us marred in this middle class. There are going to be no jobs. There are going to be no jobs. There are going to be no trucking jobs. There are going to be no cab driver jobs. There are no cab driver jobs. There are going to be no jobs for a middle class dude who 50 years ago could put in his 40 years of work, retire to a summer home in wherever, put 2 kids through college, pay for a couple of weddings for their daughter. That doesn't exist anymore, and it never will again. There is going to be a 1% class and a 99% of the rest of us. Oh, but all of those people that are closer to the 1%, the guy who makes 6 figures a year, right? Got a house in the suburbs, 2 cars. It's hard to pay for college for his kids, but he's going to make it. He's going to do it. That guy is going to do whatever those people on the top of the hill, the mansion on the hill, whatever they say, because he wants to be invited to the country club parties, because he thinks someday if they see that I'm just like them, they'll invite me. They won't. They won't. I really do think to a great extent that that's the Trump phenomena. Why Trump, this New York carpetbagging supposed billionaire, has been able to appeal to a middle class person. I think it's because they're like, oh, I'm so enthralled by the rich guy and it's so fun to think about his life. I like him. Stop it. Stop it. You are completely working against your best interests. Poor people with their free daycare. What? Your single daughter who's 20 years old needs that free daycare. Who the fuck are you? What world are you living in? It's not just poor people. The Weeknd is trending. The Weeknd spelled without the E at the end. That's, of course, the music performer, The Weeknd. He is trending today because he has been announced now as the replacement for Kanye West at Coachella. The Weeknd and Swedish House Mafia will close out the show. That's a good get. That's the Weeknd is a good replacement. It's like, we're sorry. We were going to have Kanye close out the show. But because of some of the behaviors that Kanye has exhibited over the past few months, we decided to ban him from our Coachella stage. We're happy that you all paid thousands of dollars for these tickets. But come on, in Kanye's place, how about a big round of applause for Gallagher? You couldn't have done that. You couldn't have brought out, hey, who wants to smash watermelon? You couldn't have done that. That wouldn't work. So they had to get somebody that was big. They had to get somebody that was, and The Weeknd's pretty big. Although, if I'm being honest with you, I'd rather see Kanye than The Weeknd. I would. That doesn't mean I wouldn't want to see The Weeknd. The Weeknd's great. I'd go see The Weeknd. The Weeknd sounds like fun. My kid loves The Weeknd. We sing Weeknd songs all the time. We're big into The Weeknd around these parts. We like The Weeknd. That's cool. but Kanye's better. I mean, I would totally rather see Kanye go absolutely insane. And he's got more. He's got more stuff that I'm familiar with. He's like, I knew more about Kanye. Kanye's been doing stuff for 20 years now. But whatever. Look, Kanye can't do it because apparently we as a society have started to take a step back from Ye. And Weeknd, fine. Get on up there, Weeknd. You'll be good. Dave and Buster's is trending. Dave and Buster's, a haven for borderline alcoholic weekend dads everywhere. Dave and Buster's is going to buy Main Event. Main Event for $835 million. Main Event, they do like, it's kind of like Dave and Buster's, kind of like a competitor, I guess, but Dave and Buster's is better. $835 million. The Dallas-based chain, which offers a mix of food, drinks, and arcade games, said that the deal aims to expand its reach from young adults to families with young children. So which is which? So is main event is families, right? Main event would be more for families. I thought Dave and Buster's was originally for families, but then again, it's sort of it really is for miserable divorced dads who have the kids on weekends who can give the kid like, here's your power card. I'm gonna be at the bar. That's what Dave and Buster's is. We are not a Dave and Buster's family. We do go to Dave and Buster's on occasion. But when I was weekend dad, we always went to Chuck E. Cheese. My kid liked Chuck E. Cheese. We had the Dave and Buster's sometimes. Dave and Buster's is a little bit fancier. It's a little bit nicer. Dave and Buster's to Chuck E. Cheese is kind of like Target to Walmart. Walmart serves its purpose, utilitarian. You go in there and it's like, okay, this is what we need. This is what they're going to give us. They got a guy in a suit. He comes out, Chucky. He's going to dance. The kids love that. Food is terrible. And then, that's Walmart. That's what Walmart is. And then you go to Target and you're like, hey, this is just like the other place, but I feel fancy. That's kind of the Dave and Buster's to Chuck E. Cheese, Walmart to Target kind of dynamic that I've fixed in my head. Netflix is trending. Why is Netflix trending? Well, I'll tell you why Netflix is trending. Netflix is trending today because did you watch Saturday Night Live over the weekend? A lot of people tuned into Saturday Night Live over the weekend, and I dare say that a lot of people were disappointed by Saturday Night Live over the weekend because I tuned into Saturday Night Live over the weekend to find their takes on the Will Smith, Chris Rock slap, and it was stupid. The news, right? There were some good jokes on the news. There's always good jokes on the news. There were no interesting sketches. I mean, there were sketches that dealt with the slap, but they were stupid, and they didn't really take a particular point. There was nothing interesting or daring or edgy. This is what I say about Saturday Night Live. You got to clear out that. I don't. The theater kids control Saturday Night Live. It's just a bunch of theater kids who seem to be making all the decision as to what gets on stage. We need edgy. We need provocateurs. We need people who want to be insurgent. That's what we need. That's when Saturday Night Live was the best. Those are the people that we had. Whether you go back to like Mr. Mike and Jim Downey, Robert Smigel, those people were edgy. Those people were. All right. Anyway, Netflix is trending because Saturday Night Live had a sketch on Saturday. It wasn't even a sketch. It was one of those pre-produced videos with Pete Davidson where he sang a song about short-ass movies, about looking for short-ass movies. I'm looking for short-ass movies because he's got a short attention span, and it seems like every movie that's made today is like 2 hours plus, and it was a funny song. It was, but Netflix has responded. Netflix has responded saying that is a great idea, and Netflix now has a category, a Pete Davidson inspired category called short ass movies category, which Netflix has launched a new category, short ass movies, inspired by Pete Davidson's latest sketch for Saturday Night Live. In the musical skit, which aired, not a skit actually in the video, but whatever. In the musical skit, which aired on April 2nd, the comedian, along with Chris Redd, musical guest Gunna, and actor Simon Rex, raps about films he considers to be unnecessarily long. He then asserts his preferences for a, quote, short-ass movie, a really short movie, like at most an hour 40, because I'm a simple man with no attention span. Davidson jokes to explain his preference. Movies, including Once Upon a Time in America at 4 hours and 11 minutes, The Batman at 2 hours and 56 minutes, and Sex and the City at 2 hours and 26 minutes, are all lampooned for their long duration during the skit. In contrast, shorter films such as The Lion King, 1 hour 29, Good Time, 1 hour 41, and the Austin Powers movies, all under an hour and 40 minutes, are praised, as well as the 3-minute short film that appears at the start of Pixar features. At Netflix is a joke. The streaming service's comedy branch retweeted the sketch, commenting, "Good idea, Pete," and linking to the new category. So a range of titles are featured in Netflix's new short-ass movie category, from rom-coms such as Bride Wars in 2009, which comes in at a minute or an hour and 29 minutes, and Easy A from 2010, which comes in at an hour 32. Easy A is great. Easy A is a great movie. Emma Stone, I think it's the first time I ever saw Emma Stone. And I'm like, oh man, is that good. Easy A. To horror films, including Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Halloween from 1978. The sketch ends with Rex asking Davidson, "How long was The King of Staten Island?" referencing the 2020 comedy written by and starring Davidson with a running time of over 2 hours. Davidson stutters in his reply, it was like 2 hours and 17 minutes, but we needed all of them minutes. So there you go. That's why Netflix is trending. How important is Netflix? I was just thinking about this. My Netflix wasn't working last night. I've decided, because the new season of Peaky Blinders is coming, and I decided that I don't know. First of all, here's what's great about Peaky Blinders, which is just such a great show. What's great about Peaky Blinders is that every season is only 6 episodes. So you can rip through an entire season of Peaky Blinders in like 2-3 days. And you're like, okay, on to the next season. So I decided, because the final season of Peaky Blinders is getting ready to be released, that, but why not? I was just going to go back, and I started watching it like 6-7 years ago. Why not? I'm just going to start from series 1, episode 1, boom, boom, boom. And I'm ripping through it. And my Netflix, in the middle of like season 1, episode 2 last night, started to buffer, and it started to go down. And I thought my world was over. I'm so dependent on Netflix. I'm like, what? No. You feel so helpless. You're like, oh, it's just going to buffer forever. Netflix. Oh, here's another one. This is a good one for all of us TV fans. I said in the tease, I said, oh my God, folks, there is a sequel to an amazing television show that has just been announced by AMC Studios, and I could not be happier. And that is why Orphan Black is trending. Orphan Black. What the hell is Orphan Black? Oh, don't even get me started on Orphan Black. Oh my God. Orphan Black is such a good series. Orphan Black's been off the air for like 5 years. I think it ran for like 3 seasons. It was originally a production of BBC America. Oh, so they talk funny? No, they don't. No, it's not. It's American people. It just was produced by BBC America. Orphan Black it stars Tatiana Maslany. And if you don't know who Tatiana Maslany is, I am telling you, I saw her in Orphan Black and I said, well, now we know. That's Meryl Streep. That's the new Meryl Streep. She's going to be the new Meryl Streep. This is the greatest female television actor I've ever seen. She is just killing it in this role of Orphan Black. Orphan Black is the story of a top secret Soviet clone program that took place in the 1980s, where they created all of these clones, and the program got blown up during the end of the Cold War, when the Soviet Union fell apart. So all of these clones were spread out all over the world, and they all grew up. They were all little girls, and they all grew up in different ways. They grew up in different parts of the world. And Tatiana Maslany plays the clone. She plays all the clones. She plays in the show Orphan Black. I think there's only about 8 or 9 iterations of this clone, with the primary one being Sarah Manning, which is the first one that we're introduced to when the series starts. We see Sarah Manning. We're like, oh, she's just a girl living in New York trying to get a job. And then it kicks off because she's on a subway platform waiting for a subway train to come, and she sees someone get pushed in front of a subway train. Somebody just runs up and pushes this girl in front of a subway train, and it's her. She like runs over and she sees the person who's like laying on the subway tracks, and it's her. It's one of her clones. And at that point, she starts to realize, oh my God, I am a clone. There are people. How many more of me are there? And that's what the series is about. Over the course of like, I don't know, a few seasons, we get introduced to and they call themselves sisters because they all team up and they come together. It's so good. Anyway, Orphan Black is now coming back. Nobody watched this show. Nobody watched it. Every critic called it one of the greatest shows in television history. She, of course, won the. I remember when Tatiana Maslany won the Emmy Award for Best Actress in a Series. I remember thinking, well, of course. Who the hell? Wait, you going to give this to Allison Janney for Moms when you got Tatiana Maslany out here playing 9 different characters, playing all the same? All right. The world of Orphan Black is expanding some 5 years after the original series left the air. AMC Networks has greenlit a new series, Orphan Black Echoes, that's set in the same fictional world as the BBC America cult favorite that ran from 2013 to 2017. The series, set to debut in 2023 on AMC, and the company's linear networks come from writer and showrunner Anna Fishko and Boat Rocker. I don't know who that is. Blah, 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 blah. Where is it? Echoes is set in the near future and will take a deep dive into the exploration of the scientific manipulation of human existence. The new series will follow a group of women who work their way into each other's lives and they unravel the mystery of their identity and uncover. Anyway, I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. Orphan Black is cool. Orphan Black had a remarkable run on BBC America, attracting millions of dedicated and highly engaged fans. I'm one. Captivated by a smart and engrossing story and a star-making and Emmy-winning performance by Tatiana Maslany. She's so good. She is so good. And every time I see her in something, I go, that girl's really good. This girl's an actress. Let's see here. We can't wait to dive back in with Anna, John, and our partners to create the next iteration of the Clone Club. All right, so there you go. That's why Orphan Black is trending. I'm so excited. You guys, if you've never heard of Orphan Black and you've got time on your hands, I envy you. This is another one of these situations where I envy you because you now have a complete series run to watch at your leisure. You have no excuse now to say, there's nothing on, because there's something on. If you haven't seen this, go find it. I don't know where it is. Hulu? I don't know. Netflix? Prime? I don't know. I don't know where Orphan Black is, but it's so good. So good. Hailie Deegan is trending. Do you guys know who Hailie Deegan is? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. Hailie Deegan is a NASCAR truck racer. She races in the 3rd tier. There's like NASCAR, and then there's like the Xfinity series, right? And then there's the truck racers. She is she's trending because she didn't race in the last race because she's got a crazy fan who is stalking her. She's very pretty, she's a pretty girl. She's a truck racer, so it's not exactly like she's Grace Kelly. She's got a bit of an edge to her. But she's a pretty girl. And apparently somebody used her name and her identity to catfish some psycho online. And this psycho believes that he's really in a relationship with her. And he has been told by the person who catfished him, claiming to be Hailie Deegan, this imposter Hailie Deegan is like, my boyfriend beats me and I'm just looking for a relationship with a good man. And he says, I'll be that good man. I assume that's what he sounds like because he's familiar with truck racing. So he is now making threats against Hailie Deegan's real boyfriend, who he believes, the psycho believes is abusing her. And she's like, dude, you were catfished. And he's like, no, you and I are in a relationship. We've been in a relationship for almost a year now. Why are you acting this way? And she's like, dude, it wasn't me. Oh, you told me all about your boyfriend and how he's beating you. No, he's not. I'm going to kill him. And, so that's where we are with this whole situation. It's crazy. It's like, dude, did it have a blue check? I'm Haley Deegan. I'm certified. I am verified. I have a blue check. Did the person you're in a relationship with who claims to be me have that? That's really all you got to do. Doctor Strange is trending because the new Doctor Strange film is coming out on May 6th. And people are dredging up some stuff about Humperdinck Bunker Bunch. What's his name? Benedict Copperpot. What's his name? Benedict Cumberbatch. That's what it is. Benedict Cumberbatch. Doctor Strange. People are the new Doctor Strange movie is coming out on May 6th. I love Doctor Strange. I think the Doctor Strange standalone in the Marvel universe is one of the better standalones. I really enjoy that character. I really enjoy Humperdinck Peppy Pot. Benedict Cumberbatch. It was in there somewhere. I knew it was in there. I really enjoy him. I like him as Doctor Strange. I like the character of Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is he's just over it all. He knows how much power he has, and he's just like, oh God, you people are testing me. Stop it. I love that. But people are criticizing Bumperdink Dunker Duke because apparently, and this goes to a thing that I always talk about, how all of these people who are celebrities, they either are super hot, who did something naughty and sexual to get their break, or they have rich daddies. And almost all celebrities come from money. You read their Wikipedia page and it's like, early life, her father was president of Procter and Gamble, stuff like that. It's it's like, okay, that explains it, because it's the ones that go out to Hollywood that have to wait tables that miss out on the big roles. And so but Bingy Bob Boober Deep, he's also comes from huge money, and he's being criticized now because of the huge money that he comes from. Because where'd the money come from? Well, turns out that the Binkerbach family, they were like the Amazon of slaves. Like, if you wanted slaves back in the 1750s, you went to the Bunkerbach slave company and you got yourself some really good slaves. They controlled the capture, which means that they caught slaves, enslaved them, brought them to the Caribbean, and then sent them over to America in the New World to work on plantations and all that stuff. And they made shit tons of money from it. And the Binkerbach Binkaduke, he's now benefiting from all of that money. And people are like, yeah, we can't support Binkaduke because he's got his money from the slave trade. Cumberbatch grew up wealthy. His family owned a company and was captured in the New World slaves. They controlled the slave trade in the Caribbean. He has described his ancestors as, quote, dodgy. Okay. So he knows what it came from. He knows where the money, he knows that all the advantages that he's enjoyed and the ability for him to actually struggle in Hollywood without really struggling, because, they had that Binkerbach money. He didn't have to wait tables. He probably had his rent paid and all that kind of stuff. So he was able to go on every audition, and that's how he became a star. But now people are like, cancel him because the Binkerbach Goo family, they had slaves. And it's terrible. And you know how I hate rich people. It is terrible, but it's not his fault. We can't do this, people. We cannot do this. We cannot blame somebody we cannot take everything away from him because somebody 15 generations down the line was a piece of shit. If you really want to do that, every single one of us probably has a serious piece of shit in our family. Now, a lot of us, we maybe didn't benefit from it, and that's troubling, but that's all it is just troubling. Oh, so you had all these benefits. You grew up in the 1980s and 90s, a rich kid, and all that money, it came from something really spooky, something really awful. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. Let's take all their money away from them. I mean, all right, if there was a way to actually do that, I might sit and listen to you. All right, what's your plan? Oh, you mean a complete destruction of civilized society and the tearing down of everything? and enslaving of people who were generations removed from the people who did the initial enslaving. I don't know. At any rate, that's why Doctor Strange is trending, because Binkerbuck Dinkerduck, he's apparently his aunt says his great grandpa was a terrible man. Okay, well, but he's not. He's well, we might be, we don't know, but he certainly didn't run the slave trade. So Mark Wahlberg is trending. Mark Wahlberg is trending because he's creating a movie that he wants to star in. He wants to be Bill Belichick. That's right. Mark Wahlberg says that he's going to make a Bill Belichick movie, and that's why Mark Wahlberg is trending. Popular baby names. Popular baby names. Here we go. This is good. This is trending today. Baby names. Let's look at the most popular baby names in America right now. What is happening this year for 2022 so far? What are the most popular baby names? Are they terrible? I don't know. Okay, so I'll give you the top 5 boys' names. Number 5, William. Huh? Look at that. That's pretty traditional. Number 4, Elijah. Oh, big Amish influence. Big Amish. Number 3, Oliver. Do you know if you had named a kid Oliver in 1980, what that would have been like for that kid? Oliver, in my day, was the kid that ruined the Brady Bunch. That cousin Oliver. He just, as soon as any episode that had cousin Oliver, we were like, oh, this episode's going to suck. Now, suddenly, Oliver's a good name. Number 2, Noah. Noah is number 2. And number 1, Liam. Liam is the number 1 baby name in America. Liam, which, by the way, is a derivation of William. How about for girls? Number 5, Sophia. That's a pretty name, but I think the name Sophia was pretty because it was rare. But now we're going to have like 15 girls in a graduating class named Sophia, and they aren't all going to look like Sophia Loren. You know, you're going to water down the real coolness and uniqueness of the name. You're going to have some real trolls walking around with beautiful girl names. Amelia, number 4. 5 is Sophia. 4 is Amelia. 3 is Charlotte. 2 is Emma. And number 1, Olivia. So there you go. The number 1 female name for 2022 is Olivia, and the number 1 name for a boy is Liam. All right. There you go. That's why baby names are trending. Bobby Rydell is trending. Bobby Rydell. Here's what I know about Bobby Rydell. He was a pop star in the night. He's dead. He was a pop star. He died today. He was a pop star in like the 1960s. And I know the name. You know, I classify him with like Fabian and, Bobby Rydell. Oh, the high school in Greece was named after him. The high school in Greece that they went to in the play, in the musical, the movie Grease, was Rydell High School. So there you go. Bobby Rydell, 1960s teen idol, is dead at the age of 130. Actually, I don't know. But he's gone. So God bless him. Probably had a nice life. Okay. That's it. Gen X is trending again, but it's, again, it was trending yesterday and we could have gone into it, but, why? Why should we? Why? It's all the same kind of stuff. We're Gen X. We're Gen X. You ignore us. We're better than you. I mean, we know all this. We know that we are the superior generation and we're just sitting on the sidelines watching you guys screw everything up. Let's see here. What is trending since we signed on to the show? Let's run through. And again, I'm against my better judgment. I'm going to look at Twitter to see what's trending on Twitter really quickly. Nope. International Asexuality Day is trending. We didn't cover that in the day of calendar. It's International Asexuality Day. The asexual community is celebrated and recognized worldwide on April 6th. It's International Asexuality Day. Oh, God. People are like, oh, aren't you asexual? I'm not asexual. Asexual means that you have no sexual attraction to anything. You are not sexual. I'm sexually attracted. I think chicks are hot. You're so crude. I know. I am often attracted to women. That is not, but it's International Asexuality Day. That's made up. Everybody's attracted to something. Amir Locke is still trending. Coachella is still trending. Let's see. Clean Water Act is trending. Stephen King is trending. Stephen King is trending, but Stephen King is trending in part with the Gen X that is trending, because somebody put a tweet out that says, my theory is every Gen X person read a Stephen King book way too young, and that's why we are the way we are. So a lot of people are now commenting on that. Okay, that's fine. We did a lot of things. Gen X did a lot of things way too young. I told you about how I'm like 5 years old watching Rich Man, Poor Man, going, I don't understand any of this stuff, but man, is it wild. Today, 5-year-olds do nothing but watch Teletubbies. You know what I mean? Pixar movies over and over again. I was watching Roots. I was watching Rich Man, Poor Man. I was watching grown-up stuff because that's all we had and we liked it. If I happened to be up in front of a TV at 8 o'clock on a Sunday, guess what? I couldn't just go watch Nick Jr. I had to watch The Winds of War or whatever it was. And I was 5 and I liked it. And I learned all about romantic intrigue amidst the backdrop of the Second World War, and I'm better for it. I do often wonder about, even millennials, they got ruined by that. But Gen X, we were exposed to a lot of things at a very young age. People smoking everywhere, drunk driving, like totally normal. Like, hey, come on, kids, pile in the car. I'm going to make a beer run. And like dad would get in the car with a cigarette in one hand and a beer in the other. And no seatbelts. Let's go. We were surprised more of us didn't fail to make it to 30, but there's a number of us. Not many though, 20% of the population. That's it. Generation X is 20% of the population. The entire rest of the population is made up of primarily millennials and boomers, and the boomers are dropping off, but that's okay because we've now got Zoomers. My son is a Zoomer. What are we talking about? Will Smith says Pet Cemetery was my jam in 4th grade. I'm just jumping into the chat room now. I know that there's a lot of things that occurred in the chat room that went down over the past few hours, but I was on a roll, baby. I was rolling. Today was a fun show. I enjoyed it. You know what? Here, we'll go. I'll do one more thing. I'll do one more thing here because I had pulled this because I thought it was interesting, but why not? Since we're sitting here. So again, Gen X was trending today, in part spurred on by the Stephen King trend that people are saying that Gen X is the way we are because, we read The Shining when we were 9 years old, which, that's fine. But there's also this thing that is trending that has been almost 8,000 retweets, 40,000 likes. I mean, this is a viral post that somebody named Michael Girdley posted. And I thought maybe we could go over this. If you are Gen X, or maybe you're a millennial, or maybe you're a boomer and you're listening and you're trying to figure out why Gen X is, or how to deal with Gen X, which has never been a problem. No one has ever worried about how to deal with Gen X. That's kind of our whole point. No one has ever given us any thought. We are the tiny little generation. Half of us were aborted because abortions became legal right as we were starting to pop off. Abortion became legal. Parents got divorced. So most of us don't have 4 or 5 brothers or sisters. Most of us just have like one other sibling or only children. The largest, this is because I'm a part of this, the largest grouping of only children in American history reside within the Generation X. And that's because we are the generation where families started to get divorced, where it became normal to get divorced. We are also the generation that saw abortion become a thing. Half of our people were aborted between 1972 and 1980. It was like, uh-oh, we're pregnant. We're going to have another member of Gen X. Oh, it's legal now? Never mind. So we are a tiny generation. The baby boomers were big because all the grandparents, all the greatest generation came back from World War II, and they just had unprotected sex like crazy because they'd been fighting a war for a while. So all the boomers have 10 brothers and sisters. There was no contraception. There was no abortion. If you got pregnant, you had that baby. Boomers are huge. Gen X comes in and, yeah, we're just going to have one kid and then we're going to get divorced. And oh, by the way, if I knock her up again, we're just going to get an abortion. That's us. That's our generation. Then the millennials come in. And it's sort of like back to this family values thing. We see a slight drop off in divorce. The family throughout the 1980s and the people who were having children in the 80s into the 90s was at least attempting to be a little bit more traditional. Not like the 70s and the 60s with the Gen X. That was all, mom's got a job and we are totally changing the way the family dynamic works. They went back to that in the 1980s. But also, the reason that there are so many millennials has much to do with fertility drugs. Fertility drugs did not exist. People who would have given birth to more members of Generation X didn't, because I just can't have babies. We're just not going to have babies. And then suddenly, a couple of years later, fertility drugs come in, and people who but people who would never have been able to have children are now pumping out quintuplets. And it's like, whoa, look at this. The millennial generation, huge thanks to fertility drugs. The boomers, huge thanks to no contraception and horny soldiers. And then Generation X, abortion. Let's abort half the generation. So that's why when people say, well, why do you think you're the smallest generation? Oh, I've got reasons. I can tell you exactly why we're the smallest generation. People stopped liking kids right around the time that we came in. People started deciding they need to have kids. Also, the boomer generation was right in front of us. And we looked at the boomer generation and we're like, they're never going to retire. They are never going to retire. That's the other thing. Our parents were all like 20 years old when they had us. Now, millennials' parents were like 40 when they had them. They were in their 30s. Not us. Our parents were 20. So you know what that means? That means that when we turn 20 and we're waiting to have our opportunities in the workplace, we're competing with a 40-year-old who's got like another 25 years in the workplace. So yeah, our entire generation got stalled behind a generation ahead of us that were still in the workforce. They were our bosses, they were our parents, and they weren't going anywhere. And there was a lot of them. Oh, a lot of them. So this guy, Michael, he put together this little list of ways to handle Generation X, which again, I think is hysterical because no one has ever considered us before. He says, before we start, I'll be generalizing. Not every Gen X will think this way, especially those Gen Xers closer in age to either the boomer demographic, which is 1946 to 1964, or the millennials who were born between 1981 and 1996. But these tricks will work with most. So these are tricks. These are tricks to handling us, Generation X. Let's go. Michael says, 1, motivate Gen X with 2 phrases. Do it your way and don't sweat the rules. Many Gen Xers grew up in divorced single-parent homes. Yeah, we did. So they were forced to be self-reliant and unsupervised early on. They want independence, but they want to get it done their way. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I learned how to cook, not because I knew how to cook. I learned how to cook because there was food in the refrigerator and a stove. I did it my way. Maybe that's not how you're supposed to make eggs, but that's how I did it. 2, on how to handle Generation X. Send your Gen X colleagues well-written emails. Gen X grew up without email. This was before SMS or apps. Their teachers stressed correct writing. Poor grammar drives Gen X nuts, unlike any of the following generations. That's true. that is pretty true. 3, in how to deal with Gen X. Acknowledge Gen X's emails quickly. They will love you for it. Gen X wants to know who is responsible at all times. They grew up when institutions were not to be trusted. 4, focus with Gen X on mission and results, not seniority, effort, or hours worked. You'll often hear Gen Xers say, if someone gets the job done in half the time, that's fine. I don't know about that, but okay. 5, allow Gen X a balanced life. Gen X grew up with workaholic boomer parents. Seeing that, Gen X thinks work is part of life, but not why they live. Okay, that's true. Number 6, bond with Gen X as individuals, not as part of a tribe like millennials or an institution like boomers. Institutions from government to marriage showed that they could not be trusted during Gen X's youth. All right. Number 7, be direct with Gen X. Give them data. Gen X says, tell me how it is, and cuts out all the fluff and BS. For generations like millennials, this is hard. Millennials want the shit sandwich for feedback. They need the Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, so millennials, like, basically what they're saying is don't bullshit a Gen Xer. Just tell them what's wrong and let's move on to it. But millennials need to have everything explained to them and the motivation behind decisions, which is totally true. It's totally true. Number 8, just acknowledge that Gen X exists. This is the important one. Yeah, just, we're here. Hey, all you millennials taking shots at boomers, it's like you realize we're the monkey in the middle. You're going, you millennials hating boomers. Hi, we're Gen X. We're going to be over here on the bench. We're going to be playing with our 1985 Mattel Football 2 games. You just, Game Boys? Nah, that seems too complicated. We're just going to move little digits and dashes down a football field. Just acknowledge that Gen X exists. Gen X feels forgotten. Only 20% of the population that they are. They're also the people in your organization with their heads down getting stuff done. But take them for granted and they will bolt for greener pastures. 9, expect Gen X to be pessimistic. Boomers and millennials grew up in ages of abundance. Gen X is the first generation not to do as well financially as their parents or as well as their kids will do. Not true. 10, expect Gen X to want work and life separation. Expect Gen X to be friendly, but not friends at work. Unlike recent generations who bring their personal life to work, Gen X does not. Again, I don't know that this is, but yeah, for the most part, it's like, here are some, okay. Win by doing these things with your Gen X coworkers. 1, often say, do it your way. 2, use well-written emails. 3, say, I got it. 4, focus on the mission. 5, allow a life balance. 6, bond as people, not as forced friends. 7, be direct with them. 8, acknowledge that they exist. 9, expect pessimism. And 10, expect a work-life separation. All right, there you go. That's not too bad. I can see why it's trending. It's interesting. There were a bunch of things that I would add to that, but yeah, okay. Jeff says, it always drives me crazy that kids are calling anyone over 40 boomers. I have 3 older siblings. They are all boomers. At 53, I am Gen X. Yeah, well, that's, they just forget about us. They just completely forgot. We don't count. We're only 20%. We're the small generation. Will C says, I'm doing way better financially than my parents. Well, okay, brag. That's not, okay, that's you. But there are a lot. It had always been believed in this nation that the previous or the following generation should outpace what their parents did because we were a nation that was expanding and new things were happening and there were new opportunities coming for every generation. That didn't happen with Gen X. With Gen X, everything sort of stalled. Everything sort of stopped. And then again, there's a log jam of people who were calling the shots, the boomers, because as I said, our parents, the boomers, what the Gen X is doing, there's only like 20-year separation, you know? So when we were 22 years old entering into the workplace, we were working with a whole bunch of 42, 43-year-old boomers because our parents had us when they were 20 years old. It just, and it wasn't the same thing. You could say, oh, well, they had children that young, the greatest generation, the World War II generation. Yeah, but a lot of the World War II generation died in World War II. I mean, they trimmed the fat on that. So when boomers came in, it wasn't like there was as many as we Gen X had to deal with. We just had to deal with so many boomers just clogging up our path to success. It's like, you'll be in mid-level management as a Gen Xer for 30 years because you're waiting for Herb, the vice president, to retire or die, and then there'll be an opening, and then maybe one of Gen X will slide in there. But the kiddos are using boomer like a synonym for geezer. Yeah, that's exactly the same thing. I grew up dirt poor, though, so maybe that's why Will says. Let's see what else. I'm the youngest of 4, and my parents were 25 and 26 at my birth. That's young. That's below the that is young by today's standards. That is young by I don't know what you're probably trying to argue it, but Adam says these are more rules for white people. I don't know why you have to go race. Why do you have to go race? What do you mean? More rules for white people? I don't understand. Adam says I'm doing exponentially better than my parents. Oh yeah, okay. Well, but also, I mean, so you have a different. I'm guessing, and maybe I shouldn't guess, but I'm guessing that you are first generation American. Were your parents immigrants? Because that's a different category. You are right. Yes, if you are like in the second or third generation removed from the immigrant experience, then yeah, you will have a different path because you're born an American. You will probably do better than somebody who had to, work their ass off to get here and to provide a life for you. So you're right. That would be an exception. Oh, he says youngest. Oh, I get you, Byron. Yeah. So you, Byron. So that's funny. Byron has older brothers, and he says that his parents were 17 and 18 years old when his oldest brother was born. Could you imagine? I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I think it's weird that there's only like 21, 22-year age difference between me and my mom. I mean, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that just means that I get to be around and I get to be with her for longer, right? I mean, my son's not going to be. I had my son when I was 39 years old. I'm going to be when my son is 20 or when my son is 4. I probably won't meet my grandkids. I might not make it. If my kid gets married at 30 and has the first kid at 32, I'm gonna be pretty old, man. I'm not gonna be a fun grandpa. I'm gonna be the weird, creepy grandpa in the wheelchair that makes the little kid cry because I kind of like that guy. He's all wrinkly, but I had a lot of fun in my 30s. I wasn't married. I wasn't bogged down and married. It's a trade-off. If someone had come up to me at like 35 years old when I was like at some crazy balls off nightclub party at 35 on a Wednesday at like 1:00 in the morning and said, "Are you having fun? Yeah, man, this is great. You do realize that you'll never have a relationship with your grandson." I'd have been like, huh? It's a good point. I don't have any kids. If I'm going to have kids, I'll probably never know. Oh, well, woo! And then on to the next bikini contest that I had to judge or, something like that. Adam says, Hispanic people have had it hard. I'm the only of my siblings with a degree, though my shady ass sister is probably doing better. All immigrants have it hard. All immigrants have it hard. Although I will say, it is probably an extra difficult hurdle to straddle if you don't speak the language. Like if you immigrate to a country where you don't speak that nation's language, I mean, So where I come from, here in Texas, like the majority of immigrants are Mexican because we're right here on the Mexican border. They just come right over, so it's all Mexican. But where I come from, it's Eastern Europeans. It's in the Chicago area, the people who talked funny and the people who cleaned your house and the people who took the menial jobs because they were immigrants and they didn't speak the language. They were Polish, they were Ukrainian, they were Russian, they were. Do you know the you've heard the Polak jokes? Hey, we got some Polak jokes. Polak jokes come from the idea that Polish immigrants came here en masse back in whenever they came, when I'm not even sure of when the diaspora sort of spread out. But they couldn't speak the language. So the Polish guy was always the dumb guy because he was the one that didn't speak English. That's where Polish jokes come from. Not because Polish people are actually stupid, but because they were the ones in the factory who didn't speak the language and that you could play tricks on and that you could dupe because they didn't. That's where that all comes from. Leslie says, my mom was 36 when I was born, considered old at the time. I was unplanned. Ah, yeah. Yeah. One of them accidents. One of them accident babies. Byron says, I can't change a light bulb without thinking of a Polish joke. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Byron, that's one of my favorite. When I did stand-up comedy a few times when we were goofing around and I had to like write jokes, one of my favorite jokes, it was a timely joke. I can't use it anymore. But one of my favorite jokes that I told on stage that actually got the best response. It was a good joke. It was actually Sean Rouse told me, he goes, that's a good joke. That's a real good joke. Yeah, thank you. The joke was, it was in the news. The president of Poland had died in a plane crash. The plane carrying the president of Poland crashed. And it was a big news story, like 10, 12 years ago. It was a big news story. Again, timely, so you can't really use it now, but that's why I gave you the background there. So president of Poland dies in a plane crash. And the joke that I wrote was, hey, did you hear about the president of Poland? He died in a plane crash. And people like, oh, yeah, that was really tragic. And the punchline was, apparently a light bulb burned out on board and there wasn't enough crew on to change it. That's a good joke. The president of Poland's plane crashed, and he said the joke was because it crashed because a light bulb had burned out on board the plane, and there wasn't enough crew on board to change it. I love that joke. It's a good joke. All right, we're done. That's it. We'll be back tonight. Come back and join us, won't you, for the Pillow Talk show? James is supposedly bringing a guest on. I don't know who it is. Some girl that he knows from TV news in New Orleans. I don't know, but she's going to be out with us. He says she's really cool. She's really funny. And he refers to her lovingly as a big dumb whore. So I don't know. I don't know how that works with your TV news thing, but that's James. James's buddy is going to be on tonight. Possibly. I don't know. We'll see. That's 9 o'clock tonight. 9 o'clock tonight, Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Yeah, no, I didn't know that, Adam. I just assumed. Because of the way you had said that you were doing better than your parents, I just made that leap based on the fact that immigrant parents are almost always outpaced by. So what are you, like, second generation, third generation, or are you just are you like 15th? Because that's the thing that we have here in Mexico. That's an interesting thing that has occurred here in Texas specifically, because you have people who are native to Texas. Well, Texas used to be part of Mexico. We just kind of grabbed up this land, who have been here for 10, 15 generations. I mean, you probably trace it all the way back to whether you originated as natives or Spaniards or whatever the hell it was. But yeah, is that your case, Adam? Like, is your family like native Texan? Because the problem that occurred there is, even though they were not immigrants, you were still subjugated because of, there was a language. All of a sudden, one day, everybody's speaking Spanish because this is a part of Mexico, and then the white man comes in and says, all right, it's English now. So it's almost the same immigrant experience. At least 6. That's as far back as we had records. Okay, yeah. So you are native Texas. You are more Texan than anyone else. But your family, because of the change in Texas, where it became a white man state, you were probably subjugated to the exact same way, that an immigrant would be. You were like an immigrant in your own land, which is a terrible thing, but it happened.
Like the dancing bear, trained to be the best. I am on a never-ending quest.
Yeah, look at Byron. Byron, I had a barback that didn't speak a word of English and had also never set foot in Mexico. That blew me away. Texas is a culturally diverse state. Wait a second. Hold on. Texas is not a culturally diverse state. New York City is culturally diverse. Texas has 2 cultures. It has Bubba culture and it has Texican culture. And I don't know that you can describe that as wildly diverse. It has 2 very different cultures that are working side by side. That's how I would describe Texas. Will C says that would be a better story if he spoke French. Byron, that's funny. I like that. He's gonna get up. He gets one of those. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I have got an old guitar. That is all I need. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Love y'all. Talk later. Bye. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.